is a great day in the Republic of the United States of America. Welcome, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie show. Bonnie will be back tomorrow. Bethany Markham is in today, helping us out. Welcome, both of you. I think it's a big day yesterday, a day that if you were flirting with the notion of losing hope in our nation, yesterday should help you with that.
Should restore some.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a great day for America, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness, it was just
some rights have been wrong, or some wrongs have been righted. I guess that's how about that?
Yep.
Well, we've turned the nation, and it shows that we have not lost our nation. Brian made this point, that back when Obama won the first term and then when he won the second term, it was like a kick in the gut for a lot of us, and especially the second term, because we knew who he was, we knew what he was all about, and we still reelected him. And I think a lot of us thought, is it over?
Yeah.
And even I think Rush Limbaugh said that, have we lost America? And apparently we haven't.
Yep.
Apparently we have not lost America. It just took us a little longer to sober up, so to speak, and to realize that this is still freedom-loving people.
Well, anger and hate are impossible to sustain over time.
Oh, that's good.
They just are. And look, I know there are a lot of natives who hate me because I'm conservative. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to work every day to try and understand what it is you hate about me, what you don't like, what you disagree with about me. I'm going to have a conversation with you. I dedicate myself to figuring out why we can't live together as Americans, as freedom-loving people. I guarantee that we can. There is something in us that wants to work together, that wants to be prosperous together. And whatever that is in you, I'm going to find it, and I'm going to work so hard to make sure that happens, because you cannot vote on hate. I don't hate you. Conservatives don't want to hurt you. They are not against you. And I watch these returns come in, and I see how many people and Democrats who maybe they've never met a conservative, maybe they don't know how decent conservatives are, but they've got to open up to us, and we have to open up to them. I don't know what their concerns are. I must admit I am a little lost as to why they don't want exactly what I want, which is freedom and prosperity and jobs for everybody. If there's something I'm missing, I've got to figure that out, and so do conservatives, and so do Republicans, and so do you. So if you are somebody who has voted on hate or voted on fear, I am asking you, and this is what I think the country has got an opportunity to do. Many people turned away from the Democrats' mantra of fear and hate. The other side hates you. You need to fear them. You can't trust them. You don't like them. They don't look like you. You can't vote with them. Many people have turned away from that. Many people are figuring out that that's just not true. That's so ridiculous. So that's the part that I'm so hopeful for. That's the part that says to me, we haven't lost this from many one, e pluribus unum. That is the part of America that we really have to rebuild, and it will take maybe a couple of decades for us to recover from the Democrat onslaught of hate and fear.
Well, it's interesting because you're right about everything you just said. I agree with everything, but the left would say you hate them. You hate gays. You hate poor people. You hate Muslims. You hate Hispanics because you want to secure the border.
But this agreement is not the same as hate, though. They see us as evil.
I understand that, but both sides look at each other as hating each other.
Yeah, but they're not being honest. To say I hate poor people, but I sponsor somebody. And
well, they believe that.
I can go through a list of all the charity that I do, and I don't want to because it's not right for me to do so. But frankly, I do. I give a lot of charity to poor people, me directly.
But that's not really the issue. The issue is that we each look at each other in the same light. And that's
no, we don't. No, not at all. I don't look at liberals in the same light
but
at
Glen,
all. I
you're
don't
different.
think they hate.
I know people on the right who do see them that way, and that bothers me so much.
Yeah.
I try to see the left as being evil as well. I don't see the left as being evil. I see them being wrong on a lot of things. But I see people on the right who demonize and feel like the people on the left.
No, but I'm talking about because you brought it up, and it's the word hate, because you said, I don't know why Alaska Natives hate me because I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
Well, the Alaska Natives will say, why do you hate me because I'm poor? I mean, it's the same. But my point is, you're both looking at each other the same way.
But I'm right about them. They are voting on hate. They're voting on hate and fear.
Right.
Because they don't know me. I don't hate them. I didn't vote because I hate them. I voted because I love them. Because I think prosperity is great for everybody.
Yep.
And you know, while
but that's not my point. My point is not who's right and who's wrong. You think natives hate you. They think you hate them.
No, I know that they hate me.
Okay,
I've read their posts. I'm not confused about this.
But the point is, and that's the point I'd like for you to address. We got the second side is, how do we get around each side thinking they hate each other? Because you acknowledge that's the case.
No, conservatives generally do not hate anybody on the other side.
No, that's not the point.
Particularly poor people.
That's not. But each side thinks each side hates, because you think natives hate you.
I know that they do.
Okay, you know, but they would say the same thing. So my point is, let's not argue about who's right.
Okay. Well, then that's what we've got to bridge. We've got to make sure that they know that conservatives aren't hating them because they want freedom for everybody.
614. Lots to talk about today, folks.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
Join Anchorage Downtown Partnership and other businesses along G Street for the first annual Bunny Boots and Burn Barrels G Street Block Party on November 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Bunny Boots and Burn Barrels is an opportunity for businesses along G Street to throw a true Anchorage meets Oktoberfest block party between 4th and 5th Avenue on a first Friday. The evening will feature beats by DJ Spencer Lee, a beer garden courtesy of Darwin's Theory, food from Uncle Joe's Pizzeria, and other tasty food trucks, deals and specials from G Street businesses, and so much more. It will be the block party of the ages. Since it's first Friday, you can join us to start your evening or end your rounds at G Street between 4th and 5th Avenue until 9 p.m. So put on your warmest boots and come enjoy a truly northern experience with your fellow Alaskan snow bunnies while grabbing a beer and some grub on November 7th at G Street. Brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Darwin's Theories, Criterion General, Pfeiffer Development, Maple McKinley, Cabin Fever, Uncle Joe's Pizzeria, KPP Architects, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Hi, Tom Bodette. I tried to write this script on my smartphone, but I couldn't figure out how to turn off the autocorrect feature. So you'll have to trust me when I say that at Motel 6, you can still get a clam comforter roam for the loamiest rice of any national chin. You can book by carving 1-800-4-MOTEL-6 online or with our new mobile applesauce on your phone or toilet. I hate this Dr. Tong. I'm Tom Bordeaux for Motel 6, and we'll heave the bright on farm you. Close enough.
You know, there are many people in Anchorage who have their own special place for gifts for occasions like Mother's Day or birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. Into Bell's Nursery and Gifts they go. And there's always something perfect. Bell's Gift Shop on Specking Road has a truly incredible selection of unique creative gift ideas. Crystal, glass, and china and flatware, a wonderful kitchen section, candles, lotions and potions, and of course delicious See's candies, and lots more. Great for browsing or finding that special gift. The Gift Shop at Bell's Nursery on Specking Road.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan here, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham filling in for Bonnie Cameron. We're on KOAN, KVNT. Also, we're streaming on danfagan.us, video and audio. So glad you're here. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080, that's the number. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you this morning, get your thoughts. Obviously, the big story is Mark Begich left, is gone. He's done. I don't want to beat up on the guy. He's kick him when he's down, but I don't understand why he would. He's got all those supporters there. And, get out there and say a few words for the people.
Yeah.
He refused to meet with anybody. He just went home kind of sulked. He obviously lost. There's no disputing that.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
Just
he
get out there
didn't
and say
he didn't give any comments at all. He didn't
No.
concede.
No, he didn't. And they, the media people, they kept saying, well, we're expecting Senator Bacon, and then eventually they got word.
He went home to be with his family.
He
They
just
said.
went home, which is very unusual. Typically, a candidate will come out and concede. Right. And, of course, Dan Sullivan, the man of character, he wasn't going to get up there until Bacon's conceded.
Yeah.
You don't get up there and gloat. And so he didn't, I don't think he addressed, at least by the time Channel 2 went off the air, which was the last station to go off the air. I will say this one thing, and Channel 2 did a good job, but, these guys, Rodney McBride and Steve McDonald, the rest of these guys, they really don't know anything about any of this.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have the history or background.
Right. They don't understand who these candidates are, what they stand for. Steve does, and Rhonda does. Rhonda with Channel 11. And so I turn on Channel 2. It's right at 9 o'clock. And Dan Sullivan's there. And they say, oh, look, who's here? Dan Sullivan's here. So they're interviewing him, right?
Dan Sullivan, the mayor or the Senate candidate?
I'm sorry, Senate candidate. No, appreciate that.
Okay.
But it's the same thing he says every time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of energy. Really appreciate Alaskans welcoming us to your home and places of worship. And same speech he gave us. Blah, 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 blah. So they're talking. And did you see this, Bethany?
No,
all of a sudden, numbers start coming across the screen. And Sullivan's up by 5 points with 22% reporting. Boom! He won!
Yeah.
That's all we needed to know. So I think, what is that on the screen? Is it Sullivan won? Sullivan won! And they're just interviewing him about, I've got to all parts of the state. And I'm looking, folks, Sullivan won!
Yelling at your
and
screen.
They do like a 3-minute interview. The same old boring blah, blah, blah. Well, thank you so much, Dan, for dropping by. I'm like jumping up there. Sullivan won! And then they come back, and Maria's there on the set with Mike Ross. Oh, we have some numbers now to report for you. Yeah, I saw him 3 minutes ago. Sullivan won! What are you guys doing?
No, you're right.
So here, the other big story, of course, is Parnell. And here's why I think he's got a shot. And I admit it's a long shot. I was tracking it all night. It was first his initial lead with for Walker was about 2,000. Then it went up to about 25. Then it went up to 28. Then it went down to about 25. At one point, it was down to 1,600, which I'm going, yes. I figured if it got down to about 1,000, we'd be okay. And now it's up to about 28 again.
Okay.
Or 2,900, I think, is what the exact number is. Now, the thing that you have to realize is there are 30,000 absentee ballots out. 10,000 are Republicans. 5,000 are Democrats. So, we don't know how many of those Republicans are going to go Walker, how many are going to go Parnell. We can't say that 100% of the 10,000 will go Walker because you know how Republicans are. They think Walker's conservative, some of them. So let's say he gets 7,000 of the 10,000. Parnell does. So that knocks 2,000 off of his 3,000 vote lead. Now there are a total of 13,000 independents. So Parnell, with those independents, has to make up 1,000 votes. Folks, I'll tell you, that's doable. That is absolutely doable. If I were a betting man, I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't say, yeah, he's going to get 1,000. I would probably say that Walker will probably get more of the independents. He may increase his lead simply because these folks are independents. And I don't understand how anybody can be an independent today. Frankly, no offensive independents. But there is a shot here. It's not like it's over by any stretch.
No, the votes need to be counted. There's plenty of votes out there, and the early part of the election is sometimes different than the election day.
Yeah.
One other
definitely.
factoid that's very important. I am told that many of those are military and North Slope workers.
Oh, okay.
And many of the military were ones who voted before the Anchorage Daily News decided that they were going to start smearing Parnell
exactly
with the National Guard scandal.
And the North Slope, where it's like Bonnie says, her husband got a job on the North Slope because of Sean Parnell. It never was. There was never a day where you can just go up there and work unless you knew somebody. And those North Slope workers understand the boom that's happening on the North Slope, and they understand that's Parnell.
Oh yeah,
and they can smell anti-oil populism when they see it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing that gives me hope.
Oh, good.
You're giving me hope too, Dan.
I know for sure Bonnie's one of those absentee ballots.
Yes,
And
there you go.
There's
one.
two.
Yeah.
That's only one for Sullivan, but it's two for Parnell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't need it.
I think there's a chance you let the votes be counted, and I don't.
And the good news is we're gonna.
My take on this race, by the way, is that Walker ran as a conservative. He didn't say anything liberal.
He didn't say anything at all.
Well, he might not have
Solid.
said anything at all, but I guarantee you he didn't come out and say, my boys are the union boys, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there and I'm going to serve my union boys. He never said that once.
Glenn, why campaign when you have Alice Rogoff campaign for you?
There you go. It makes it a lot easier, Dan. I can tell you
There's
that.
no reason to get out on the stump.
But he
Just
did
look.
have some unions going door to door, as we heard the
Yeah.
other day.
Oh, yeah.
So
So anyway, look, he ran as a conservative. I expect him to govern as a conservative.
yeah, right. You can keep hoping that.
That's what that's my expectation.
I did have that thought, by the way, but I wasn't being facetious like you are. I was watching his interview, and I thought, what if he fools everybody? What if he says, Bill Trummy, get the hell out of my office. You don't run me. I'm the governor.
I'll hug him.
But seriously, what if he says to Malott, get your leftist ways out of here. I'm not a communist. I'm not listening to you. I mean, well, what if?
What if? Here's the big what if for me, by the way. And I asked people before the election that what would it take for you to regret your vote? And I did, in all fairness, I did the converse of that, which is I said, well, what would give me hope if Walker was elected? If he did this or that, what would I take as a good sign? If the 52% that he's going to ask for does not take us back to zero, then that will give me hope. If he decides that he's not going to essentially reset the pipeline process, so that was a big question for me. I took it that he probably was, and that was my biggest concern. But if it doesn't, and he can get 52% and somehow come up with the money, which it's going to be very expensive, we're going to have to go after the permanent fund to get it. I don't know
Glenn,
that people know that.
We were trying to talk the other day about the role libertarians and the Constitutional Party would play, and you said that they're pretty much not. No, Glenn, you said they're pretty much not a factor. In Bethany, you said they are. Libertarians took 6,700 votes from Parnell. Constitutional Party, 5,500.
Yep, huge.
Totally knocked them out.
Absolutely. I mean, that would have made the difference.
These are not Parnell voters. I don't know how many.
Some of them would be.
Some of them would be, but some of them would be.
Enough would have been.
They
Enough would have been.
proclaim themselves freedom-loving people.
And enough of them would have been to put Parnell over the edge. Absolutely.
Now, this is what I will say, and I'm interested in your take on this. The libertarians who really are conservative voted for Sullivan and gave him his 3.5% lead.
Yep.
There are 7% of the state that are literally libertarians.
What if
they're
Fish
not
get 3.5%?
Yeah, you got 3.5% is what Fish took, but the 7% that voted against Parnell and didn't vote for Malott Walker, right? 3.5% of those, that is the margin of victory for Sullivan.
569-1080 if you want to join the show and talk about the election. 569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Bonnie's off today. Bethany's in for. Let's go to Phil. Phil, you're on.
Hey, thank you. I was just wondering, now that the Republicans are basically in charge, are they going to actually take the bull by the horns, or are they going to, cower like they were last night, and they asked them blunt questions on Fox News? Are you going to repeal Obamacare like you guys tried to do before? And they're dancing around that question already, and they're already cowering, and they're supposed to be the ones in charge. Let's act like it.
Well,
How do you make them do that?
As an establishment Republican and proud of it, I was watching my hero Karl Rove last night, and Karl Rove. I'm serious. I like Karl Rove. Karl Rove said the predicament for Republicans is now, do we go big or we go small, and that's the debate. And he said, let's go big. And what he said was, and I agree with him, let's start with one big project at a time. But we have to do it with the presidential election in tow or in mind. First thing, pass legislation for the Keystone Pipeline. Let Obama veto it.
And pass it every month.
That's right. The next thing, pass legislation that will lower taxes, that will
secure the border.
No. Cause that's, you got to be careful, because you got to have the presidential election in mind. Things that everybody agrees on, things that you could that he's gonna veto it all. So it's a show.
Yeah. Oh, I
so,
agree.
So you don't go border, you don't go abortion.
Why not
you don't
border?
go gay marriage because you want. It's not about the legislation. It's about an agenda that will bring in a president that has an R in front of his name in 2 years.
Yeah, but if they don't do something on the border, then I think
you don't even understand the word I'm saying.
A lot of people aren't going to believe Republicans.
This is not about legislation.
I know that. I know they're not going to pass it, but if they don't even try, that's a huge issue to get on board. All
you
the
think that will unify people around?
Yes.
The party.
Yes.
I think it separates a lot of people.
Well, I understand that, but how do you actually get them to do that? To start.
Well, Phil, you have to understand.
Like they're
Phil,
for cover.
We don't have a veto-proof majority, so any legislation we throw Obama's way has to be designed to expose him and the party for how anti-freedom they are, how anti-business they are. You pass legislation that reins in the APA. You pass legislation that minimizes regulation. You pass legislation that lowers taxes, and let Obama veto, and then in 2 years, when this is all, the country's like, wow, this Democratic Party really is against oil and gas development. They're against the economy. They're anti-business. Then you sweep in with the Republican president. You don't do the issues that divide.
No, I don't. I understand that, but how do you keep our guys to the wheel?
Well, that's
there's no wheel. That's his point is here. We can't pass anything. The Democrats are going to block 95% of things because of filibuster.
Yeah.
And Obama will veto everything else. So the point is, you're making your case to the American people about what we want to do if you give us the opportunity.
That's right. Give us the presidency, and we'll show you. 629.
Online at 1020kvnt.com.
This is Charles White with your Matsu Report. The Anchorage School District unseated Democratic Senator Mark Begich. Sullivan received 48% of the vote to the incumbent's 45%. In the meantime, the gubernatorial race may still be too close to call. Observers say independent Bill Walker was holding on to a slim lead over incumbent Republican Governor Parnell, 48 to 47%. Don Young appears to be destined for D.C. Results show the top congressional race vote getter with 51% to Forrest Dunbar's second-place finish, around 40% of the vote. Finally, 68% of those voting Tuesday in Alaska said it was time to raise the state's minimum wage, while question 2 was much closer. Initial results suggest voters approve the legalization of marijuana in Alaska by a vote of 52 to 48%. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Today, partly sunny skies, high 32. For tonight, clear, low 15. Partial sunshine for tomorrow, high 31. Thursday night, low 20. Friday, partial sunshine, high 35. And on Saturday, clouds and sun, high 37. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Oh, yeah, it's game day. I love football. He could go all the way. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown. Man, that's why I love football. There's nothing better. Well, except maybe free buffalo wings from Sicily's. Call 333-8000 right now and ask for free buffalo wings. Buy any extra large 2-topping pizza at regular price and get 10 free buffalo wings. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Enjoy hot, fresh pizza and Italian food. Call 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Dealing with death is never easy, but it can be made easier when you call a Janssen Funeral Home.
Gonna go to
Hi, folks. I'm Scott Jansen, owner of Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, and Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center. I'm also a two-time Iditarod finisher, known as the Mushin Mortician. Death is usually a subject to be avoided. No one wants to think or talk about it. Consequently, the need for our services generally comes up quite suddenly. At Evergreen, we help make all the planning, arrangements, and services as easy on you as possible. We strive to offer the best in service and have been doing just that since Evergreen was founded over 55 years ago. We're local, active, involved Alaskans with families of our own. When you need our services or just have questions, always call a locally owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, or Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime, movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grew up, I wanted to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher. Oh, an Olympic gymnast.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream. For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
All my life, I've enjoyed hunting and fishing, but as I got older, it made it harder to enjoy the Alaskan outdoors. Thanks to Chugash Chiropractic, I'm back on the stream enjoying Alaska.
Besides aligning the spine, we also deal with the musculature and the nervous system of the body. To do that, we not only adjust the spine, but we also balance muscles along with various therapies and deep tissue therapy. We help bring the body back to normal function.
You're on with Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham from Bonnet Cameron on KOAN is where we're broadcasting KVNT. You can watch us stream video of the show, danfagan.us. Call us up. Let us know your thoughts on the election yesterday. 569-1080 is the number. 569-1080. We'd like to hear from you and get your thoughts on all the races. Anything stand out to you? And I didn't get to finish my thought on the Begich leaving early thing. I mean, you know, it's a tough night for him. So I suppose we can cut him a little slack,
But I mean, it's been a tough night for everybody who lost, historically even, and you just have to have class.
You know, I sat there and went back and forth between Channel 2 and Channel 11. It's just so funny. You know, these guys, they're broadcasters, but they don't really know. Steve McDonald for Channel 2 and Ronald McBride for Channel 11. They know the players, they know the issues, they know what the players stand for. Everybody else, all they do is they go to work and they read scripts. So it was so funny to see them interview these guys. Other than Steve did most of the interviewing for Channel 2, and he was spot on. And Ron the same, but it just was funny. You know, Les Guerra gave me such an insight, Glenn, into leftism. And it's such a beautiful message. He said, well, you know, I really would like to see more Democrats win, not because I'm partisan, not because I believe Democrats have all the answers, but the closer number of Democrats that we can have to Republicans, the better chance there'll be unity. And we really need to operate as one as a state. And we really need to get along. Now, the low information voter is sitting at home going, oh, that's beautiful. We're all Alaskans.
Mm-hmm.
But what the low information voter doesn't understand is that Les Gare wants to take away your freedom. Just about all of it. Just about 97% of it.
Yeah.
He wants to shut down the oil industry. He wants to shut down the business community. He wants to transfer trillions of dollars from the private sector into the government sector for
young to old.
His union bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to sit there, and that's all they talk about, the Democrats. Every time they ever interview a Democrat, it was about unity. And that's why the Unity Party won. People like the idea of unity.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand, we're at war for the soul of America. We're at war for the heart of Alaska. And if we unite with people who are anti-freedom, no thank you. I'm going to pass on unity.
You have to have shared values in order to really be able to unify with someone.
It's about values. Mm-hmm. It's not about getting along.
Yeah. Well, the idea that
unity is not a policy.
Democrats, yeah, it's a bumper sticker.
Can I borrow that?
Of course.
Yeah. Unity is not a policy.
Yeah, and it's a bumper sticker. Honestly, and that really it is a reflection of what they think of their voters.
And even some of the low information voters who work for Channel 2 and Channel 11, they were saying historic Unity Party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let's make history. Yeah.
Yeah, they were adding,
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll find out what the Unity Party means. I mean, Walker ran as a conservative. Okay, great. We're ready for you to cut the budget 16% across the board.
He ran as a conservative. Oh, well, he did on the budget.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
He said he was pro-life.
569-1080. 569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie here on KOAN, KVNT. Let's go to Todd. Todd, you're on.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I just I don't want to be depressing here, but I believe you touched on the real truth of this election. It was a low information voter election.
Yep.
Sullivan won not because of his policy, not because he's a conservative. He won because people don't like Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Walker won not because of his policies, not because people understand economics. He won because of the Unity Party.
Yep.
Every one of these winning votes and ballot propositions were an emotional victory. They were an emotional response.
Yeah.
Minimum wage, ballot measure 4, marijuana. It's really an indictment on the electorate because what it shows is that they're not thinking past emotion and initial response.
And they're not paying attention, or they are paying attention to the wrong sources, i.e. the Alaska Dispatch News.
Well, I don't even know if they're paying attention to that. I think it's mostly emotional.
Yeah.
Walker started using the "Let's Make History" there at the end too, and they were tagged on all of his signs, which that's another one of those little slogans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that ballot measure 3 and 4 were going to fail. I'm disappointed that Parnell's behind right now. Very disappointed. I mean, obviously, we're happy that Child Begich is no longer our senator, or won't be. But what
he just looks boyish.
No, he acts childish.
Did you see?
He threw a tantrum
and went home.
I mean,
Did you see when he did address the crowd early on when the first reports came out?
Oh yeah, I wanted to record it so that I could call up his Senate line and then play it back to him.
Oh, and you didn't see it, Glenn, I guess.
Oh no.
Yeah, he got up there. He got up there. Tell me if I'm wrong or I'm embellishing here, Todd. He got up there and he said, I'm just so tired of not winning my elections on election night.
Yeah, but we're gonna win.
But we're gonna win. I mean, he's down 5 points with like half the votes, and I'm so tired of not winning on election night. We've been through this before. Let's hang on. Compared it to the Ted Stevens race.
This is not the Ted Stevens race. I'm glad to tell you, Mark Begich.
I have to say, Todd, I think you're absolutely right, and I don't think enough people realize that what you've described is the core of the problem. It's the fact that most Americans are disengaged from knowing about policies and how those things affect their lives, and they do vote completely upon emotion and those things nowadays.
they don't think critically. And I guess what's so difficult for me is that as a high school teacher, I've spent the last 17 years trying to help young people learn how to think critically, and I don't see adults doing it.
Boy,
And
Todd,
it's
we need a million more U's, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know my good friend Karl Rove in Hero?
Yeah, well, don't get me started on Karl Rove.
He said last night that where Obama really went wrong on this midterm is that the Democrats targeted the 18 to 25-year-olds, thinking that they would automatically vote Democrat.
They didn't.
This is a group that has 52% unemployment rate, that's living in their basement, can't get a job to save their lives. They're very disenfranchised right now.
Yeah.
So that was a major tactical error.
Well, have a good morning. I have to say, I think overall my feeling is depressed, really.
Well, don't give up on the governor's race yet. We're still in this thing, I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, I know.
We're not going to know till March of 2016, but I promise you, we got a shot.
All right, have a good morning.
I have to agree, though, that I'm a little bit depressed because of the ballot measures. It's that whole mob rule thing that Bonnie talks about, is that I feel like they can legislate now by this mob rule, just by all these ballot measures. They can change anything. It doesn't matter who we elect, because they'll just put it forth on a ballot measure. They will make an emotional argument, and then we'll lose.
And like the pot people, George Soros, who's an anarchist, he put the money behind that thing, and there was no counter to it. Same with the unions. The unions totally controlled the ballot measure.
Yep.
Prop 1.
Oh, yeah. 20 to 1 spending.
Yeah, we got to get rid of the initiative process. Priority number 1, Glenn. We've got to get rid of that.
That's not my priority 1.
What's yours?
Priority number 1, we're going to move forward. We're going to figure out how to forge stronger ties between the conservative alliance that formed this election, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it.
569-1080. 569-1080. 644 is the time. 569-1080. 644 is the time.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928, and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage, and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. With our award-winning kitchen designs and remodels, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call.
.647 in the a.m. day after election, 11/5/2014. If you're freedom loving, it's a good day. I know a lot of us were hoping that the governor would win and be reelected. He may still be, again, just for people who just are joining us, I think it's important that we point out that there's only a 3,000 vote lead at this point, approximately, that Mr. Walker has. There are 30,000 absentee ballots. Many of them are military and North Slope workers. 10,000 of the 30,000 are Republicans. Only 5,000 are Democrats. 13,000 of the 30,000 are independents. So Mr. Walker, he has a 3,000 vote lead. Will he be able to make up? I mean, basically, he's got to get a 10% advantage. Mr. Parnell does in that 30,000 group. I don't know. You think there's any way? Any way? Parnell could make that up.
I don't know. I don't know that he ran a great campaign. I thought he came on stronger at the end,
yes,
rather than 2 weeks out.
Right.
But these votes, the Republicans work these votes very, very hard. So do the Democrats. But this is, I mean, they would have been working on behalf of Begich, who probably isn't going to do all that well.
But we do know that
in these votes,
it's 2-1 Democrats to
which is the actual real percentage.
Yeah.
There's about 14% of the state is Democrat and about 29% is Republican, if I remember the numbers right. So it's about a 2-1 split generally, and that definitely, look, this will favor Republicans. I think there's no question about it. Was Parnell running a good enough race 2 weeks out, a week out, 3 days out? I thought that they were hitting him really hard with those National Guard stories, and I thought those started to fade away.
in the dispatch.
The dispatch. I thought those started to fade away as people really got the sense, well, actually, he did follow up on it, and so did Begich, and so did Murkowski. And here Dahlstrom wanders in, and she's actually chastising the people who complained about what was going on in the Guard.
From former law.
So people started to understand the backstory, and I really think they started to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's the right person to clean it up at the end. But earlier on, I thought it would have been a little harder for him.
569-1080. 569-1080. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the election. Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah. Are you on there?
Yeah. Hey, I've just got a few minutes, but I wanted to bring up, I heard you guys talking about the governorship going to because of the unity thing, but just listening to guys around work and people I know, have y'all discussed that Parnell might have lost because people didn't like his running mate?
Dan
a lot
Sullivan.
of guys at work and stuff just said they weren't voting for Parnell. They liked Parnell, but they didn't like Sullivan.
The union members, because...
Yeah, that can only be union members.
Yeah.
Everybody else loves Dan Sullivan.
Public employee union members. But no, that's probably true.
Look, I think it's win-win. If we keep the mayor here in our town, then we get a much better chance at having a conservative mayor next time. And if he goes off to Juneau, we got a chance to have him governor.
Jeremiah, do you work for the government?
No, I work on the slope.
Oh, now a lot of these absentee ballots are slope members. How do you think? Who do you think would win if it was just a North Slope vote between Walker and Parnell?
I think it would slide to Parnell, but I think it would still be pretty close.
Yeah. Who was your candidate?
Parnell.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting about Dan Sullivan. The union members absolutely loathe him because he stood up to union members, no doubt.
Which is why I love him.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. 569-1080, 569-1080. Jim, you're on.
Yeah, I just got three things. They should review the absentee voting system setup, and they should look this one and serious look at referendums.
Yes.
And I was 18 once, and I know that the 18-year-olds didn't know squat, and the ones who thought they didn't know squat. They just thought they did. So they should really go back to 21 and try and get this emotional thing out. And I hear some people saying the priorities. I think it was you were saying about the priorities. But they really need to close the border, or we'll have more of the people who were just voting emotionally or for their meal tickets, So that's all I wanted to say. And I was kind of fearing, though, that we may have saved the country but lost the state. I said, whoa, because hopefully, I voted all Republicans, so I hope everybody we can get some sensible thinking in here.
We didn't lose the state, though. Even if we did lose the governorship, we've got very strong majority in both the House and the Senate, and we haven't talked about those victories, but we had some good ones. There's still a few close races, but it's good stuff for the House and the Senate for Alaska.
Yeah, as far as voting age to 21, I think it should be 70. I don't think you should be able to vote unless you're 70.
Yeah, right.
I'm serious.
I don't think you should be able to vote if you're over 65. Now that
if you're over,
now that we're transferring vast amounts of wealth from young people to old people, look, they all get a government check. Every one of them gets a government check.
I got behind some of those old people in line, and they really did hold it up.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, I poll watched at the senior center yesterday, so I can tell you about that.
I remember I had a caller once on my old show, and he was dead serious. He said that we should not let women vote. And his point was that women voted for Clinton, they voted for Obama. They you know, with that, we would be, you know, there was some validity to what he was saying.
They vote heavily Democratic.
Heavily Democratic.
Massively, much more than men.
Yeah. Now, I'm not, that was my caller.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Well, I will.
But what is wrong with your gender? Why are you guys also...
I will make a point to say that the Republican women in Alaska are some of the strongest and hardest workers, and any of the candidates will tell you that they rely heavily upon the Republican women in this state. So, enough said.
No, there you go.
Yesterday afternoon, the Dispatch started this live blog, and they were reporting from around the state, just kind of updates about the election and polling places. And they interviewed this guy who came out and said he didn't think it was fair that Dan Sullivan was running for 2 offices, so he voted for the Senate one, but then he decided to vote for Walker because he didn't think it was fair. And then they informed him that it was 2 different people, and he was like, oh. It was just like, really? That's your low information voter.
And there's a lot of that. It's amazing.
Now, can I talk just very briefly about the low information voter?
Yes.
Do you know how much strength it takes to try and sort out who's right between Begich and Sullivan? They spent $60 million trying to convince you Satan is running for office. His name is Dan Sullivan, and he would love nothing more than to steal away your fishing rights, your hunting rights, and to throw you into the fiery furnace. You know, I mean, what is a person to make of all that? So we're asking people to do an extraordinary thing.
That's a good point.
Because government is so big. Because it does so much for so many people, and it's so important who runs it. You got all this money that gets dumped into politics, and frankly, unless you have a trusted advisor, unless you're a member of a group,
a political advisor,
who really does a lot of work for you, and you trust them implicitly, I honestly don't know what a normal person, because look at us, we're not normal people. We love politics. This is what we do. It's exciting for us to watch it. I don't know how a normal person would sort through who's telling the truth and who's lying their ass off.
I think there's a key. And this is not universally 100% true, but I think it's about 87% true. What did Dan Sullivan accuse Begich of? Supporting Obama, supporting Obamacare. He basically talked about his record. What did Begich accuse Sullivan of?
Yeah.
Hating women,
yeah,
being pro-murder, being pro-rape. I mean, it was vicious. And I think the Democratic Party typically attacks, whereas Republicans talk about record. Because Democrats, all they can talk about, what Lescare talked about, is unity. We all want to get along. And we're all one country. And let's all, you know, because they can't talk about, we want to take away your freedom.
We want to go after the oil companies.
We want to shut down business. Taxes. We want to transfer money from your money into the government. They can't talk about their policy.
Right.
So if the voter would just simply say, is this person being attacked personally, or are they talking about issues?
That is such a great guy, by the way, Dan.
But the problem with that now is that voters can't distinguish between ads that are made by and put out by the actual campaign versus the ones put out by PACs and such. So even if a candidate does a completely clean campaign, no attack ads, there will be PACs doing that. And so the voter can't be expected to and doesn't distinguish between those.
I don't buy that, by the way. I know that there could be no collusion, but if some PAC started running a campaign, you know, Mark Begich is a lesbian, I can promise you someone from the Sullivan camp.
Are you breaking news here, by the way? Because I didn't even know he was a female.
Would have gotten to that PAC and said, stop it. I don't buy that collusion stuff. 569-1080. Terry, you're on.
Good morning. I am just wondering, I'm hoping, praying, that when the inflation begins and when the low information voter goes to McDonald's or Arby's or Burger King or any of the other fast food restaurants
Yeah.
and is now paying more for their fast food, that someone tells them it's their fault.
Any restaurant, Terry, not just fast food.
Oh, I know, but the low information voters are the ones who are going to be populating.
Somebody's got to tie together the facts here. This is going to drive up our taxes here in the municipality of Anchorage because some of our public sector unions' pay is directly tied to the minimum wage. The price of their food and the people who serve them is going to be directly tied to this. And a lot of people won't get jobs. Look, it's going to be much harder to get a job.
Small businesses can't afford it. Someone has to pay for the increase, and I don't understand why people don't think about who that person is going to be.
Terry, I appreciate your call. Thank you
Have a
very
good
much. 6:58. Dan Fagan, Glen, Biegel. Body cameras off. Bethany Markham's in for KOAN, KVNT. Our number, 569-1080. Time currently, 6:59.
Styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Listen online at 1080KOAN.com. Hot Talk 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Republicans can't wait to take over the Senate. Hopefully, this will be a message, and I humbly request that the president get with the new leadership in Congress and start getting things done. Tom Tillis, the morning after he unseated Democrat Kay Hagan in North Carolina, one of at least 7 seats the GOP won to gain the majority.
It's a reflection of the president's lack of leadership. His lack of leadership abroad, his lack of leadership at home.
New Jersey GOP Governor Chris Christie, who could run for president in 2016. Exit polls showed voters are not happy with Congress, though. They gave Republicans a bigger majority in the House. 59% said they were either angry at or dissatisfied with President Obama. We'll hear from him at a news conference later, just before 3 p.m. Eastern. Friday, he'll meet with congressional leaders.
So, what is going to get done when Republicans control the House and the Senate? Well, Speaker Boehner is saying the House is going to get working on jobs and energy bills. Senator Harry Reid saying the message from voters is both sides should be working together.
That's Fox's Peter Ducey. Now, one of the Democrats defeated, Bruce Braley in Iowa, says he hopes that the activists that he worked with don't get frustrated if they keep moving forward. Now, Republicans haven't been too fond of President Obama's goal to close Guantanamo. Another prisoner has just been set free. Fox News Radio Steve Taylor's live in Washington.
An Obama administration review board says Fauzi al-Auda of Kuwait probably had terrorist training and may have fought alongside al-Qaeda or the Taliban, but poses no continuing significant threat. Republicans say President Obama is risking new terrorist acts in a rush to close the detention center. Today's release is the first since last spring's exchange of 5 Taliban detainees for Army captive Bo Bergdahl. 148 prisoners remain in Gitmo. Dave.
Steve, a new survey by AT&T says most people with mobile phones text and drive anyway, despite being aware of the dangers and state laws against it. On Wall Street, the Dow has been surging since the start. The Dow is up 70 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Did you know by age 50, half of all men have an enlarged prostate? This means more urges to urinate, longer bathroom trips, waking at night to urinate, or issues with intimacy. If this sounds familiar, call us now, because we're shipping free bottles of Super Beta Prostate to listeners of this station. Super Beta Prostate is a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's yours free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-739-8212. In clinical trials, the ingredient in Super Beta Prostate was shown to reduce urges to urinate, improve bladder emptying, reduce waking at night to urinate, and improve quality of life. This Super Beta Prostate free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Don't wait. Just call 1-800-739-8212. That's 1-800-739-8212. Call 1-800-739-8212.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington, Ford Giant Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles and 700 4x4s. That's why we're 4x4 headquarters.
Right now, pick any vehicle on the lot, and you can make no payments until next year. Take a look.
Check out this Kia Sportage. It's a 4x4, just $69.50. And a Ford Explorer, also $69.50.
Here's a Ford F-150, just $79.50. And here's a Mazda CX-7, just $15.9.
And with over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, you're sure to find one that's just right for you. Plus, no payments until next year.
And we can finance anyone we want to. We have our own finance company.
And don't forget your trade-in. We need your trade-in.
So push, pull, or drag it in, and you'll get top dollar. Now's the time. Head into Giant Worthington Ford on Gamble.
06 Sportage Q1457D, 01 F150, 1470818, 02 Explorer 141007A, 2010 CX7, Q13018. On approved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Since 11/6/2014.
This is Dr. Ellenberg. Are you tired of taking medications? Do your medications create more side effects than solutions? Do you want more than 15 minutes with your doctor? If you answer yes to those questions, you should consider calling the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine. At our center, we take the time to listen and focus on finding the cause of your health problems. Whether you have a cold, high blood pressure, diabetes, or cancer, we can help. Call the Ellenberg Center for Natural Medicine at 563-2366 or visit us online at drellenberg.com. We can help.
Here's my good friend, Keith Monternock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASD certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
Why is A&A the shop, Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A the shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A the shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. 6 minutes past 7 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham for Bonnet Cameron today. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. We're broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. We're also streaming live on danfagan.us. Now, you kind of dropped the bombshell on us this morning, Glenn, at the beginning of the show, and you said that you feel like Alaska Natives hate you because you're conservative, right?
That's the sense that I get, that whenever I'm discussing, and you know, this could be a small percentage of people who debate with me online or discuss things with me, but I really did get the sense that they weren't giving Parnell the time of day, that they really thought they'd been mistreated or mishandled, or that something just dramatically had gone wrong between the relationship.
It's leftist in general, right? Not just Alaska
I don't
Natives.
think natives are leftists.
So why do they hate you?
They don't. I think that leftism is, there's a very small percentage of people who are truly on the left. who truly believe, look, government is our answer. Anything that business can do, government can do better. Everything that business does, it would be better to transfer. And I just think that's a small percentage of people. So I think most natives are just average, everyday people. They want a job. They want freedom. They want liberty. Yeah, they might want subsistence rights and things like that. But those aren't threats to the republic. Okay? So, you know, what I'm trying to get through and what I'm trying to figure out is if Parnell goes out to have a conversation with people who are natives, and all that comes back from them is, look, why are you talking to me? I don't like you. I'm not listening to you. I'm not having a conversation with you because you're not on my side. You're not part of my tribe, and we're at war. I got to understand what that war is about. And you know, we're all human beings when you get right down to it. And yeah, I'm not going to convince any leftists that the government is really a horrible, damaging, disparaging, dehumanizing force in our life. To give somebody food when they haven't earned it for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years or their whole life or multiple generations of people, that is dehumanizing. That denies us a very key, critical part of our nature. Anyway, so look, I'm not trying to convince people on the left. I'm saying that there aren't that many people on the left and that I want to have a conversation with them. That's what I'm trying to say. But the language of the Democrats is hate and fear, and that they've convinced many people who are not leftists that you cannot vote Republican because you hate them, because you should fear them. And I'm dedicated to that idea that that's just not true, and that I want to figure out how to talk whatever language you want to talk to show you that that's not true.
If you want to secure the borders, you hate Mexicans. If you want to make sure we're secure as a nation, you hate Muslims. If you want to cut government, you hate poor people. If you don't want to redefine marriage, you hate gay people, on and on and on.
Yes.
Okay. So let me just amend. I agree with you in spirit, but the definition of leftist, I wouldn't say that they think government's the answer. I think they think they're the answer. You know, they believe that they're elitist. It's the intellectual crowd. The average person on the planet is a dupe.
Okay, so you're saying that's even smaller than what I'm saying, because that can't be more than 0.5% of the country.
No, I'm talking about the leaders of leftists.
Okay, and that's very important also to differentiate leftists from the leaders of leftists who know what their movement is about and really know what they're doing.
And they're disingenuous when they preach to their flock. And what they'll tell their flock is, we care about people. We want to protect people. We want to make sure people have a safety net and that they're not going to ever experience any kind of heartache or problems, or frankly even suffer consequences for their bad decisions. That's the message they preach. But what they're really saying is we don't trust people.
Mm-hmm.
We believe that if there is a creator, and that creator gave mankind a free will, the creator messed up.
Yeah.
That's what the
we'll
leaders...
fix that.
That's what, we're going to fix that. I mean, this free will stuff, that ain't going to fly, because people are dupes. They're dopes.
Yeah.
So that's...
they need government, and government is much...
Well, that's the
most important vehicle in their lives to make sure that things... By the way, life without suffering is not life.
Yeah. But before we get into all that, so leftism basically says that it's not the government they believe in. It's they believe they're superior, they're inferior, they're elitist. Government is the tool in which they use to make you submit to their will.
Okay. Yeah.
Not your own will. Fair enough?
Yeah. No, I like it.
Now, we were talking, because we started the show, we were kind of saying, how do we figure these people out? How do we reach out to them? Now, Dave Harbour, who's a brilliant man.
Very much.
This is what he writes, because he heard your comments earlier. He says, Glen Biegel is honest. Glen Biegel is a God-fearing conservative. Liberals are not honest, nor are their leaders God-fearing, though some pretend to be. Biegel wants freedom, free enterprise, reliance on God's laws. Liberals want power, and to them, the ends justify the means. Conservatives are wealth producers. Leftists want to have the power to receive and redistribute that wealth. Please quit trying to understand the left. The left is controlled by socialists. They don't want to understand you. They want to control you. They want your wealth. It's us against them. It's a war to the end. One side wants freedom for all. The other wants to enslave others. One side will win. Will the Constitution win, or will socialism and dictatorship win? The sooner we accept the reality, the sooner we can set out to win.
You know, I
think those are great words.
What I hear in what he says is the difference between Byron Malott and Terrence Shenigan and Craig Fleener, the lieutenant governor candidate. We've had him on the program several times. I probably will never be able to convince, because you heard Byron Malott say what he thought conservatism or limited government was all about. Kids dying in the street, people starving to death, people being left to fend for themselves with nobody there. But Craig Fleener and Terrence Shenigan are not. They don't have that belief. They don't see government as the site.
Who are these Craig Fleener?
Craig Fleener ran for lieutenant governor with Governor Walker. He was the original lieutenant governor candidate. Craig Fleener was a big part of the Walker team. I have conversations with them all the time.
They're Alaska natives.
Alaska natives. And so I agree that there are a group of people. Byron Malott is a leader, right? I'll probably never have a conversation with him where we're going to come to any kind of productive discussion.
Because he believes he's the answer.
He believes he's the answer. He mimics what you said there and what Dave Harbour may have said. I don't know whether specifically about him, but so I still think and I still hope, and this is my goal and this is my push and this is my drive, that there are many people who are in the Native community who are voting based on their emotions and based on what they think conservatives think of them, who are voting wrongly, and that if we never have a conversation with them, then they'll never lose that misunderstanding of what limited government people really want. And so I'm just dedicating myself, because I don't want to see us with a 53-47 majority, and that's where we sit. I'm not comfortable with that, because I know 80% of people agree and will live well under a limited form of government that I want to see Alaskans have. And so I want to push out to them. I want to figure out how to converse with them and interact with them.
Harbour says don't try to figure them out, though.
Okay, well, the leaders, I would agree. I totally agree. Everybody else, look, I'm here for conversation. That's what I'm here for.
569-1080, Fagan, Biegel, KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080. KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
Just a short drive from wherever you are. Get your tickets now for the Connect Country Liquor Holiday Wine Tasting. There are only a limited number of tickets available, so you can enjoy a relaxed atmosphere and taste a multitude of fabulous wines. It's the 16th annual Connect Country Liquor Holiday Wine Tasting at Evangelos, Saturday, November 8th from 7 till 9. This premier Valley event kicks off the holiday season. You'll have the opportunity to buy your favorites at drastic savings, but on that night only. Advance purchase is necessary. No tickets at the door. Get them now at any one of our 4 convenient, locally owned and operated tax-free locations. This event is black tie optional. The 16th annual Connect Country Liquor Holiday Wine Tasting at Evangelos, Saturday, November 8th. Keeping the valley in good spirits, yeah. Connect Country Liquor, oh yeah. KKL.
Hi, my name is Mike Ferris, president of Alaska Enterprise Solutions. We are the face of Xerox in Alaska. Xerox is a trendsetter, and AES Xerox is following in those footsteps. We are the document management experts, specializing in short-term rentals of copiers and scanners. We have offices in Anchorage and Fairbanks, and we are your Xerox professional agency with an Alaska focus and worldwide support. You can reach us at aesalaska.com or 561-5100.
Hi, Tom Bodette. I tried to write this script on my smartphone, but I couldn't figure out how to turn off the autocorrect feature. So you'll have to trust me when I say that at Motel 6, you can still get a clam comforter roam for the loamiest rice of it by carving 1-800-4-MOTEL-6 online or with our new mobile applesauce on your phone or toilet. I hate this Dr. Tong. I'm Tom Bordeaux for Motel 6, and we'll heave the Brighton farm you. Close enough.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080.
7:17 in the morning. Good morning to you. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel here. Bethany Markham filling in for Bonnie.
Woo-hoo.
Our number 569-1080. Broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live video and audio. danfagan.us. Keith Montauk is a man who loves freedom. He runs Specialty Truck and Auto, and he will free you, and since we're talking about freedom today, from high car bills or automobile repair bills. He's not going to overcharge you, I can promise you that. He's a good, decent man who makes his living the hard way by earning your trust, doing you right. Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto, right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon, right there where Abbott and Diamond mix. Give him a call. You'll be thrilled you did. You will, as I have, build a long-lasting relationship with him. If your first time you go see him, you'll go back many times, I promise you. 349-1637. 349-1637. The number here, 569-1080. 569-1080. Let's go to Will. Will, you're on.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Will.
So, first of all, took a while to track you guys back down on the radio. So good to.
You just found us?
2 weeks ago.
How long ago?
It's been a while. 3 weeks ago, I picked you back up again. So.
Yeah, I still have people come up to me, at the grocery store and say, "Hey, what do you do for a living now?" So our show is growing quickly, but it's just a lot of people don't know we're here. So tell your friends and neighbors.
So a couple quick points, kind of addressing Glen's point earlier on how do you see through all the election ads and all the misinformation.
Yes.
And I think the key component is remembering. Having issues that strike you and not forgetting. Because if you remember something and you remember the emotion of it, you're not dissuaded by ads a year later. You're not confused.
Yes. Remember what they ran on and then look at their record.
You're remembering the issues that are important to you when it comes up and the politician does something that's good or bad. And it's the key point. And go, don't want to forget this. This is something I'm going to put on my refrigerator. And 4 years from now, I'm going to look at that and remember. And I'm not going to be confused by a flashy campaign.
Will, I hate to be a pessimist and a negative Nelly, but I'm going to go ahead and be it. What do you think if the Alaska Dispatch and Channel 2 and Channel 11, if they fairly gave us an accurate representation of Mark Begich's record, how badly would he have lost yesterday?
He would have lost just as bad as Obama would have lost.
Yeah, he would have got about what Obama would have got, which is about 30-something%. But the media doesn't tell you that Mark Begich invited the EPA out to Western Alaska to shut down EPA. Mm-hmm. The media doesn't tell you Mark Begich sat by and did nothing when Salazar took half of the NPRA off of drilling. The media doesn't tell you this kind of stuff. And so it's hard for the average citizen to really decipher what the record is of the politician.
No, it's true. The media is the eyes and ears, but there are issues that fly through that people, they just forget about. They have about a 30-day attention span, and I experienced it. You talk at the job site 1 week, everybody's frustrated. 6 weeks later, you bring it up again, and nobody remembers. They sort of look at you like, well, huh.
Hey, Will, I got a question for you. Yeah, I agree with you on the 30-day. I may be shorter than that. I don't know, because so many things happen, and I almost think this president, he's kind of been just heaping obscenity upon obscenity as far as his raw power. But do you think that if they had implemented Obamacare day one, just said, okay, it's all on, everything's implemented, here it is, blah, 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 do you think 2.5 years later people would have just gone, this is totally miserable, but they would have forgot about it? Or do you think that the drip, drip, drip was worse?
I think that had I hammered him right away, it would have. I think we still haven't seen the downside of Obamacare.
No, not even the beginning of it.
That's why many people have seen the beginning of it, by the way.
Well, but what they won't even tell us what the new rates are going to be.
I know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Imagine if a Republican did that, withheld information from the public that was required by federal law. Unbelievable.
Can I tell you a little anecdotal deal with my health care?
Yes.
My health care was going to triple under Obamacare.
Oh my God! I knew you were going to depress us.
It was a a high deductible policy, kind of a catastrophic policy, $12,000 deductible. I've had it since I was married. I was 21. $450 a month for me, my wife, my 3 kids. Under Obamacare, that goes up to almost $1,200 a month.
Wow.
Outrageous.
It goes to a total out-of-pocket of $25,000. So, in my opinion, I think I have reduced services because there's more people competing for the doctor's time.
Wow.
I have a higher out-of-pocket, and I'm triple my premium. And this is the best part that really frustrated me. I'm a big believer in insurance, and through a clerical error, I forgot to get my middle daughter on insurance, and it was something my wife thought she did it. Or she thought I did it. I thought she did it. So when I went to update her, I realized, oh my goodness, she's not covered because of this enrollment period. She's not. I cannot get her part of my family policy until this January. So I'm having to scrape around finding some kind of short-term coverage because I cannot add my daughter to my policy because of these crazy enrollment periods.
Wow.
It's just not. It's not America, frankly. This is such an odd situation where everyday average people can't buy something that they want or not buy something that they don't want, where the government has the right. Because what you're being charged for, by the way, and you may not know this, Will, one of the things Obamacare said was your 5-year-old healthy child can only be charged, or has to be charged, at least 1/4 of what the most expensive 64-year-old smoking, drinking person who's got a communicable disease has. That the separation between those two, that's why on your high deductible plan, because the limit that Obamacare sets is you're going to overcharge your young child in order to transfer health care to the older person.
Exactly.
You are the person who gets saddled, not because it's something that you wanted to buy, not because it was something that was good for your family, just because of Mark Begich and Obama and this crazy government policy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate the call. I remember 2 years ago, we had Mark Begich on the old TV show. The show was over. We're walking out of the building. I said to you, man, Obamacare's going to kill you. He says to me, no, it won't. He said there are so many good things in Obamacare. You know, the 25-year-olds and under getting to keep their parents' insurance. The good things will outweigh. Obamacare won't kill me. Obamacare killed him.
Yeah.
That deciding vote thing, he couldn't survive that.
Right.
569-1080. Tom.
Good morning.
Morning.
It was interesting what Dave Harbour had to say.
Was that good?
It was. You know, I've been working in this arena for years. Kind of as a sideline, and you can't trust a Democrat. You just cannot trust. And maybe they'll come to a meeting and it seems like everything's going your way. And when they leave the meeting, they're immediately saying, okay, let's schedule another meeting and see if we can change his mind, or let's see if maybe he won't show up for the meeting. And
you're talking about Democrat leaders where the ends are going to justify the means, and they don't mind telling you something that they don't really believe or that they're not going to follow through on.
And it's not even leaders. It's people at the community
You think
council.
all Democrats, no Democrat can be trusted? Well, we have such a small percentage of Democrats in the state. They may actually all be really on the left.
They will not believe that what you're doing as a conservative is correct. And
no matter what it is,
even like the community councils at that level, they might not get what they want this year, but they just never give up.
They got their conservative spidey sense, and whenever they sense that you're a conservative, they automatically work against you.
And you were also talking about elected officials, and it seems like when a person is elected, they might be your friend, you're working on their campaign with them, you kind of agree with everything. The day they get elected, they become one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're no longer part of you, they're part of them. And here in Anchorage, we've got Dan Sullivan has been the mayor, pretty good mayor.
Yeah.
But there is so many things that we've talked about over the years that are just injustices towards the citizens of Anchorage that a mayor could do something about, but no mayor wants to go against the status quo. And, it's like all the utilities that we own.
Yeah.
We talked, if you go to the Aces game or you go to the Bucks game, out there in center field, you see the big sign for MLNP.
Right.
Okay, MLNP doesn't have to advertise.
No.
They have a locked-in constituency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have a monopoly. yet they're spending your money and my money to advertise, and so is the rest of the utilities. You go to
Tom.
Yeah.
It's not just that. I remember back on KFQD, I got a hold of something somebody sent me from MLP, all the charities they gave to.
Yep.
It was unbelievable. It was a gazillion dollars.
And it is. And then like AEDC, you go to the AEDC luncheon, and AEDC is a quasi-governmental agency because we support them. But, who are the big donators? ML&P, Solid Waste Services. Solid Waste Services, who loses money.
Yeah.
I mean, as a government
they're donating
agency
money to
who has a monopoly, and they're still losing money. They're so bad at it.
Right.
So what we really need to do is tear down government and tear down the businesses that they protect, like the cab industry.
Yep.
It's a monopoly that's allowed by the government, and the government's been carrying their water for years.
Protect it.
And there's a bunch of other businesses in Alaska that are that do exactly the same thing.
Tom, I got other calls back up. I want to ask you one quick.
Sure.
Let me ask you one quick question. Any chance Parnell pulls this out?
It's fairly close, and I know the Republicans did a lot of work on the.
Well, they 2-1 on the absentee ballots.
On the absentees.
There's 30,000 absentee ballots. Republicans 10.
And he's about 3,000 votes behind, so I think he can pull it out.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I
and
think he might.
The other one is, I think, Anand Dubé. Anand really knows the electronics into things, and I have to believe that he really followed the absentee ballots. And
well,
if
Anand loses, by the way, if Anand loses, every candidate Brad Keithley supported will have lost.
Says something bad about Brad Keithley, doesn't it?
Thank you, Tom.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Mike is next online. We'll get to him right after this. 569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. 729. 1080. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. 729.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are holding on to modest gains, with the Dow Industrial setting a record intraday high after the Republican Party took control of the Senate in the midterm elections. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrials are up 30 points. Investors are also looking over a stronger than expected reading on the labor market. Payroll processing firm ADP reports 230,000 jobs were added to the private sector last month. September's number was revised higher. And another report showing a slowing rate of expansion for U.S. service firms. The ISM says its services index dropped to just over 57 in October from September. And Time Warner is a winner today after the media company's third quarter results beat the estimates. Time Warner says it made an adjusted profit of 97 cents a share on revenue of $6.2 billion. The company also raised its earnings outlook. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
Warning, you must have your solar system up and running by midnight December 31st, or you'll miss out on this year's federal tax credit. Energy prices are expected to increase by as much as 40% in the near future. Go solar now with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. The door of opportunity is about to slam shut. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR now for a free in-home assessment.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Early voting results suggest Republican senatorial candidate Dan Sullivan has unseated Democratic Senator Mark Begich. Sullivan received 48% of the vote to the incumbent's 45%. In the meantime, the gubernatorial race may still be too close to call. Observers say independent Bill Walker was holding on to a slim lead over incumbent Republican Governor Parnell, 48 to 47%. Don Young appears to be destined for D.C. Results show the top congressional race vote getter with 51%. DeForest Dunbar's second-place finish, around 40% of the vote. Finally, 68% of those voting Tuesday in Alaska said it was time to raise the state's minimum wage, while question 2 was much closer. Initial results suggest voters approve the legalization of marijuana in Alaska by a vote of 52 to 48%. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Today, partly sunny skies, high 32. For tonight, clear, low 15. Partial sunshine for tomorrow, high 31. Thursday night, low 20. Friday, partial sunshine, high 35. And on Saturday, clouds and sun, high 37. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Oh, yeah, it's game day. I love football. He could go all the way. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown. Man, that's why I love football. There's nothing better. Well, except maybe free buffalo wings from Sicily's. Call 333-8000 right now and ask for free buffalo wings. Buy any extra large 2-topping pizza at regular price and get 10 free buffalo wings. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Enjoy hot, fresh pizza and Italian food. Call 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
All my life, I've enjoyed hunting and fishing, but as I got older, it made it harder to enjoy the Alaskan outdoors. Thanks to Chugach Chiropractic, I'm back on the stream enjoying Alaska.
Besides aligning the spine, we also deal with the musculature and the nervous system of the body. To do that, we not only adjust the spine, but we also balance muscles along with various therapies and deep tissue therapy. We help bring the body back to normal function.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-10. The Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
7:35 in the morning. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. KOAN, KVNT. Bethany Markerman today for Bonnie. Our number 569-1080. We're streaming on the website danfagan.us. You can stream. We're streaming video and audio.
Earhart Roofing. If you're looking for a place, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, you need a new roof on either your house, you need a roof on your business, you need a roof replacement. They can do pretty much everything. It's an amazing company. Better Business Bureau Business of the Year for 2010. That's not across roofers, right? We have a whole bunch of pretty good roofers here in Anchorage. This is the best of the group, but this is the best business in the whole state of Alaska. It's an amazing accomplishment. You've got to include them in your bidding process. They're number 345-5555, licensed, bonded, and insured, of course. Include them in your search for the best deal in roofing. Earhart Roofing. When you think roofing, think Earhart. EARHART.
Talking about the election, 569-1080, governor's race, the big nail biter. I'm not as obviously I'm a Parnell guy, as I think my two colleagues here are. 30,000 absentee ballots left, 10,000 of them are Republicans, 5,000 are Democrats, 13,000 independents. Walker's lead is only 2,935. I think Parnell's still got a chance. I have a gut feeling that Parnell's going to win, but I had the same gut feeling that Romney was going to win the second election, so don't trust that. 569-1080. Mike, you're on.
Hey, this is Mike up in Palmer.
Yes, sir.
One, when you're talking about Obamacare, well, I know that they're talking about they're going to repeal it. Of course, we know that Obama's going to veto it, and then they're going to go after it, one item after another.
Like the pipeline down through Canada.
Yeah, well, and then but the thing that I would like, I know if I had my way, the very first thing in Obamacare I would take out is the 25-year-old aspect, because I'm sick and tired of the fact that, wait a minute, are we adults at age 18 or aren't we?
You're talking about having a child on your insurance plan till they're 25?
Yeah. But anyway, some interesting news that I've been following. Did you see where Washington State, 60% vote, turned around and came up with some really stupid gun control measure? But some of the bright points is Washington State, the Senate, they moved up 26-23, the Republicans. Nevada flipped over. Senate looks like, according to the article, it's kind of questionable, but 11-10, with the Assembly of 22-20, and Colorado Senate flipped. And
Well, look at the governor's races.
And went 2015. So this nationally, I mean, we seriously kicked some rear end when it came down to the Senate.
Well, here's a question, Mike.
But we did really good at the state level too.
Mike, is this a reflection of an embracing of conservative values and principles, or is it a rejection of our president?
I think it's a combination of both. It's a real when you get, like they said, politics is local, and we're getting down and look at the legislative race that we did this time. I mean, I know Shelley Hughes. I worked with Shelley. I campaigned for her. I knocked on. It's the first time I ever knocked on doors for anybety.
She's great, though. You did it for a great lady.
And she was running like she was 20 points behind, and she beat LaFrance 70% or whatever. So, I think the voters want that more conservative, closer to home. And I think, and I haven't looked at all the legislators across the nation, but I know the last I heard, we picked up like total 9 governor races.
Yeah, big stuff there in the governor's races.
Yeah, and I think and I'll bet you if you start looking at those, we picked up those state legislators. We flipped a lot of state legislators as well. And that is where that's where the power is really going to be coming from. And I know Glen and I have talked about the countermand amendment.
What is that?
You and I talked about it before, where it's a countermand amendment that we're pushing through Citizens Initiative that will put the power back into the states, where we can repeal that federal law. And now that we're pushing this, because right now we got 14 states that are sponsoring. Right now I'm looking at Colorado is probably going to be a pickup. I'm looking at Nebraska is now going to be a pickup.
What kind of amendment is it?
It's an amendment.
No, the name again.
Countermand.
And how would it work?
If 60% of the states believe that that a federal law, rule, regulation, executive order, judicial decision has violated their state's sovereignty,
yes,
they can be repealed. So
it would be repealed where?
At the state
level.
At the state level, the states would repeal that federal law, rule, regulation.
So who would vote? Would it be state legislators?
State legislators.
It would be both houses of the state legislature. Would it be the Senate? Okay.
Yeah.
And then it would have to be a majority of states.
60%, he said.
Oh, 60%.
Yeah. What I like about it, by the way, it's just so interesting, the way that you presented it, is because this basically takes us back to before whatever the 14th Amendment was, whatever gave us senators that were popularly elected and puts legislatures back in charge of at least something having to do with states' rights.
And how many states have sponsored this thus far?
We got 14.
That have actually passed legislation.
No. That we have got solid sponsors for this.
Yeah, but how many have actually said yes?
Nobody yet.
No,
not yet. We just start. This is the year we started pushing this really hard. So we've been doing it. And
why would states not sponsor this?
We have not had anybody not sponsor it because.
No. You had nobody sponsor it. I'm talking about why Why haven't we seen this legislation passed anywhere on any state?
Because it has. We just started it this year.
This is just a new idea.
This is a relatively new idea. Yeah.
Now, what about when you get to these judicial activist judges who don't care about the Constitution? They don't care about the rule of law. It's irrelevant to them. How are you going to make it to all that?
Okay, so if 60% of the states decide that these federal judges that came out and said that marriage between one man and one woman that was voted by the people of the state, that is in violation of their state.
But my question is, how are you going to get it through the sea of activist judges who don't care about the rule of law?
It doesn't. That doesn't matter. Once 30 states come out and say it's repealed, it's repealed. It reverses
based on this amendment.
Decision, based on that amendment.
And this will be an amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Yes.
And does there have to be a vote of the people?
Nope.
Just
legislature.
Just legislature.
Legislature. And that's the beauty of this whole.
And when was this suggested initially? When did this whole movement come out? This idea of this?
This is out of that whole Article 5 movement that's been going on for this last year.
Well, Levin started the movement about 2 or 3 years ago.
Mark Levin, talk show host.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, I would love, I know you got a whole bunch of people behind me, but
so your point is that if the more governors we have, the more likely this will pass.
The more conservative state legislatures we have.
But you got to have the governor. Do you have to have the governor veto or sign on it?
No. Governors are out. They don't have nothing to say about this at all.
Well, Mike,
I would love to sit down and have some time with you guys on this.
We just did.
Well, no, I'm talking like some serious time.
No, I think we explained it.
So
thank you, Mike.
But thank you much. Bye.
People tell me all the time they want to come meet with me and tell me their ideas. I know everything I need to know. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
I love the Article 5 stuff.
Yeah.
7:44, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Bethany and Today for Bonnie.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Here at the hospital, the focus is patient health. But as the administrator, my focus is patient information. Medical histories, lab results, millions of documents printed, scanned, and accessed.
With intelligent EcoSys printers and powerful MFPs, like the 45-page per minute Task Alpha 4551 CI, plus customized apps and services, Kyocera helps you manage the many documents that matter.
At a hospital, every document is important.
Learn more at kyoceradocumentsolutions.com/US.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacom.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, friends stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out moviesacom.com. It's showtime.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. From our handyman services to our award-winning kitchen design and remodel, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. 68th Avenue in Anchorage. Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
7:47. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron off today. Bethany, Markham in. We're broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming live, video, audio, danfagan.us. Our number 569-1080. You know, I just had a thought, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham. I just had a thought.
Uh-oh. We're sitting down,
Do
so that's
share,
okay.
do share.
Yes?
We got to get serious.
I've been serious for a long time, Dan.
Okay, I got to get serious.
Okay.
We got to get serious about this country and this state. There is a movement in our state that is designed to consolidate power and give it to a select few. And there are many useful idiots who are following this movement, not realizing that that's what the movement's about. We got to start fighting back. We got to stop playing around. We got to stop allowing the Alice Rogoffs and the Tony Hopfingers of the world to get away with deceiving so many. We got to stop the Les Gares of the world talking about unity and harmony and how we all get along. Well, all they really want to do is take away our freedom, and we sit back and we're afraid to take them on because who can be against unity and harmony? It's the historic ticket of Bill Walker. We got to stop pulling punches. This email we read from Dave Harbor earlier. I don't want to understand the leftists. I don't want to know where they're coming from. I don't give a rat's ass of what's in their heart. You like that?
we got to educate the normal people who aren't the leftists or the people on the right.
Well, we need to. You know, I don't like the word educate.
Well, inform? I don't know.
I don't even like the word inform. This is my thought. We know that freedom is the key to the greatness of America. It was freedom that produces the wealth that we experience today. It's freedom that brought the ingenuity today. It's freedom that allowed us to raise our families in peace and harmony. Freedom, 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 freedom. We know that in our heart. We know, I don't care what religion you are, I don't care what background you come from, every one of us as individuals of this planet understand that freedom is the most important thing. Freedom, freedom, freedom. And we got to stop being afraid of offending and insulting or causing someone to think we're not for unity. We got to take the boxing gloves off. We got to start swinging, to punch, to knock out. I'm not talking about these are obviously figurative terms. I'm not talking about hurting anybody. But when Les Garrett gets on there and says, "Hey, we're just all for unity. We just all want to get along," we need to call him on it. No, you're not, Mr. Guerra. You're for taking away our freedom. And I know that because I know everything you've ever proposed, every single thing you've ever proposed has been designed to take away my freedom. No exceptions. And we need to call him on it. And we can't sit there and dance with him. Oh, yeah, we're for unity, too. I'm not for unity for someone who wants to take away my freedom. And it's time we get serious about this. And I know I'm talking to two people who've been serious about it for the next...
Well, and you know what I appreciate about what you just said, though, the most? Is when you said we don't have to worry about people being offended.
Yes.
Okay, here's what I like, because I didn't like those words. I don't like people being offended at what I say. I try so hard to make sure that people know that I am not trying to offend you.
That's
when
not your
I
goal.
talk about my job as a father, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to do everything I can not to offend you because I want to have a conversation. What you're talking about is being real with people. And when you explained it, that's when it came into focus. And it was so powerful because what you're talking about is questioning people when they say things that are not true, even though that is difficult to do. That is key. Not being afraid of calling people out when they're not talking about they're not being honest about their past, about their voting record, about what they believe.
And not just people in the opposite party that we belong to.
Yeah.
Republicans, too. The Gary Stevens of the world.
Oh, absolutely.
The Carl Rose
Bert
of the world.
Stedman.
Exactly.
Don't you talk about my buddy Carl.
Exactly.
That's
Thanks,
my hero.
Glenn.
I
Thank you,
mostly agree with Carl Rove, by the way.
I got a big
but,
poster of
I'm
Carl in my
worried about it.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Please, people.
I just say that to piss off you Tea Party nut jobs.
Wackadoodles.
Wackadoodles.
I like that. Whack-a-mole.
Hey, Dan, did you know that there's actually more than 50,000 early and absentee votes that are still out?
Oh, really?
Fairbanks Daily News Miner.
Is it questioned, by the way? Because
Nope,
you got
not
early
question.
absentee
Early and absentee.
50,000 absentee
Nearly
ballots.
50,000 early and
Okay, so-
absentee. This is per the Department of Elections. This is reported on the Fairbanks Daily News Miner Buxton story, with an additional 14,000 absentee ballots that are still in the hands of voters, which may or may not come back. Some will come in, some won't.
Oh,
But,
okay.
so that's a total of 64,000 that are, at least 50 that are going to be counted, and then
Yeah.
another 14.
Yeah, I don't. That's good news. But
Mm-hmm.
my problem is, I watched this governor's race. I had a little chart going, and every time new numbers would come out, I would, okay, Parnell's down by 22. Oh, now he's down by 2,500. Now he's down by 28. Now he's down by 18.
This
Now
is
he's down by
obsessive
16.
compulsive behavior,
Well,
by the way. I
it's
just want you to
huge.
know. We'll get you some help.
It's
man.
huge.
It's going to be all right.
It's huge for the state. And so, when he got down to 16, I'm going, yes. And then he started going 22, 25. Now it's at 2,900. There was never a time in which, these are big batches of votes.
Yeah.
And he could never get ahead. So I'm a little worried that it doesn't really matter how many votes there are, because every time a new batch of numbers comes out, he never seems to be able to cut into that lead.
It matters who votes.
Yeah, it does.
At different times, because what you were seeing was you start with inside the city of Anchorage, and that really depends on who's voting and where the votes are being cast, because there's dramatic differences.
Yep.
Then you go out to the valley, it's sort of the mid-range. Then you go out to the bush. Then you'll come back to some of the places that are having difficulty in towns, and you go back to the bush. So they're totally different populations of people voting.
So that I appreciate you looking that up, Bethany. Does it indicate? So you say it would be not including the absentee ballots that haven't been sent back yet. How many? 50,000.
50,000, correct.
And does it indicate how many of those are Republican,
It
Democrats?
does not. No.
Because Amanda Coyne is reporting 30,000 absentee ballots, 10,000 Republicans, 5,000 Democrats, 13,000 independents. So there's actually more than that.
That's what the Matt Buxton story says.
Well, good. That's good news. Well, this is a very close race, 2,900 votes.
And that's why Begich hasn't given up, I guess, because, he doesn't have a prayer, in my view. It's not going to be close. His votes are going to, I think he's going to lose more votes.
Yeah.
And I think it'll end up being a 4.5 or 5% margin. But these could be dramatically different voters than people who voted in the general election.
Now, what's the difference between an absentee ballot and an early voting?
Absentee ballot.
Well, no, an early vote is
So
you
those
went
are
to a
counted.
polling place at a centralized
Right.
location.
So those are counted already.
No, not all early votes.
No.
Well, I shouldn't say. I don't know for sure, but in the past they have not always been. And actually, she did say that. Gail Funny said that not all of them would be counted on election day. So
we need
some of
to
those
get her on the show tomorrow.
Yeah,
Make
it's
sure we
really
do that.
important for us to understand what
Yeah.
the process
What-
is here,
what
because it gets
situation.
very confusing. Anyway, so an early vote is where you went to a polling place, you presented your ID, you said I'm from District XYZ,
But I'm just worried- I know- I
and
understand
I
that.
voted, and
No,
they
no.
gave you a ballot.
No, I just
An absentee is
I
they
understand
sent
all
you a
that.
ballot in the mail.
Yeah,
Right, but as far as counting,
Yeah, she says that at the end of election day there will still be thousands of absentee ballots, early votes, and question ballots to count.
okay.
Yeah, so there will still
she
be some of
doesn't
those
say a
counted
number.
afterwards. So no, she does not say number.
But the Fairbanks paper says 50,000 absentee ballots.
Absentee and early. That's together.
Okay.
Not question, but early
And
enough.
these are, we know that these absentee ballots are actually ballots. They're not potential ballots.
Right, they're not question ballots. These are absentee.
No, but
and
I'm
early.
not a question. You've got absentee ballots that were mailed out that will never be returned. Is the 50,000?
These have already been returned.
They
There's
have
an
been
additional
returned. They just haven't been
14,000 that have not been returned. Exactly. These have been returned but not counted.
Come on, party! Come on, baby! Oh my goodness! Such
It's
a big
close.
deal.
It's
Hey, you know,
very
you
close.
Walker
It's a very
people,
close race.
who most of you are very rude, so this won't mean anything to you. But I don't want to insult you, but you've been duped. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Bill Walker will cut all the deals. He will abandon all the deals he had to make to get to this position. He'll tell Vince Beltrami and the union people, no, I'm not going to let you run the state. He'll tell the leftists, I'm not going to put you in key positions. He'll tell the anti-oil populists, no, I'm not going to kill the gas pipeline and go after the oil producers. Maybe he'll cut all that and be his own man and be the greatest governor we ever had, if he wins. That's what I hope.
Yeah, I hope
A lot
too.
of ifs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of ifs there. I don't think he's going to tell Vince Beltrami to go pound down. What I do hope he does, though, is stays with what he ran on, which was a 16% reduction in state spending, that he's serious about that, and looks to the legislature as a partner.
You are such a you
I'm
know
just
you don't
saying-
believe that.
No, I'm holding him to it.
I know, but you know that ain't gonna happen. You know it.
Well, here's what I expect to happen: is he will abandon that almost immediately.
Well, of course.
But Republicans will come out and they will have a little tape player as they go out in front of the media and say,
and I'm sure Alice Rogoff will be right there with
we're
the
going to play a friend of ours who made some really important points.
Where's that going to be played?
During the election, and then they're going to play the tape, and on the tape is going to be Bill Walker's voice several times saying exactly, well, he said this is what he was going to do. This is actually what's required for our state to survive. We are going to help him do that.
At that luncheon the other day, he said he'd put together a study.
No, he's going to have a discussion. He was criticizing for studies, but he was having discussions. There's a difference, don't you know?
I think we can say this, Glenn.
Yes.
That if he ends up winning, and there's probably about a 70% chance he will, that you and I will give him the benefit of the doubt. We will watch him. We will be very diligent to see if he's paying off all these special interests that he had to commit to get in the position he's in. And
how he does that.
And if he doesn't pay off these guys and he's his own man and he really is about Alaska, we will give him all the credit.
And we'll be very happy.
We'll give him all the credit in the world.
If he doesn't kill the gas line, that's really the key issue for me, because that's an issue of pride, which is really going to weigh heavy on him. If he does not kill the gas line, I'm going to give him a lot of credit.
569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham for Bonnie. 7:59. 7:59.
The traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. To your authorized dealer and see the world differently in a C-Class from Mercedes-Benz. Get the 2015 C300 4MATIC starting at just $40,400. Test drive one today.
MSRP for 2015 C300 4MATIC excludes all options. Access title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Hot talk all day. Hot talk every day. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM, KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. At least 7 more Senate seats will be in Republican hands when Congress starts its session next year, flipping control for the first time since 2006.
I think this will be a real test for the president. Will he decide to lead with Congress working together?
Congressman Steve Daines, elected to the Senate from Montana. We'll hear from President Obama this afternoon about an election some voters say was about him. Here's Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland at the White House.
Chris, about 3 hours from now, President Obama will hold a post-election press conference in the East Room here at the White House. Last night, he called dozens of House, Senate, and gubernatorial candidates of both parties and members of the House and Senate leadership. An aide told the New York Times the president does not feel repudiated by the election results, which gives the GOP control of the U.S. Senate for the first time in 8 years. The president is also planning a meeting Friday with congressional leaders from both parties. Chris?
And Rach, we had a call a few minutes ago in Colorado where Democrat John Hickenlooper keeps his job as governor. Republican Cory Gardner, though, did beat out Democrat incumbent Mark Udall for Senate there. Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus on past complaints they'd been outworked.
We didn't want to take another day, again, ever, and have the Republican Party get whipped on the ground by Democrats. It's never going to happen again, and I think yesterday was the first step in fixing that issue.
3 races yet to be settled in the Senate. Alaska and Virginia not called yet. Louisiana's going to a runoff. The Republicans hold 52 seats in the next Senate and control more seats than they had in the House. On Wall Street right now, the Dow is up 79 points at 17,463. Private employers report adding 230,000 more jobs last month. That's the most since June. In Syria, in a suburb of Damascus, mortar fire into a school has killed at least 13 children. It is not clear who fired those mortars. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Did you know by age 50, half of all men have an enlarged prostate? This means more urges to urinate, longer bathroom trips, waking at night to urinate, or issues with intimacy. If this sounds familiar, call us now, because we're shipping free bottles of Super Beta Prostate to listeners of this station. Super Beta Prostate is a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's yours free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-739-8212. In clinical trials, the ingredient in Super Beta Prostate was shown to reduce urges to urinate, improve bladder emptying, reduce waking at night to urinate, and improve quality of life. This Super Beta Prostate free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Don't wait. Just call 1-800-739-8212. That's 1-800-739-8212. Call 1-800-739-8212.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington, Ford Giant, Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles and 700 4x4s. That's why we're 4x4 headquarters.
Right now, pick any vehicle on the lot, and you can make no payments until next year. Take a look.
Check out this Kia Sportage. It's a 4x4, just $69.50. And the Ford Explorer, also $69.50.
Here's a Ford F-150, just $79.50. And here's a Mazda CX-7, just $15.9.
And with over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, you're sure to find one that's just right for you. Plus, no payments until next year.
And we can finance anyone we want to. We have our own finance company.
And don't forget your trade-in. We need your trade-in.
So push, pull, or drag it in and you'll get top dollar. Now's the time. Head into Giant Worthington Ford on Gamble.
06 Sportage Q14570, 01 F150, 1470818, 02 Explorer 1410078, 2010 CX7 Q13018. On approved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Since 11/6/2014.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the saumon lyonnaise.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk? Very funny.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Here's my good friend, Keith Montronock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley.
8:06 in the morning, November 5th, 2014, on a Wednesday post-election day. Our number 569-1080. You're listening to Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham for Bonnie, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming live on danfagan.us, streaming live video and audio. Country Financial is the premier financial planning company in Alaska. They have a very heavy presence here, 13 different locations, 5 in the Valley, 5 in Anchorage. Mike Daniels and his team, the country representative teams, you're going to be blown away at their knowledge and expertise and wisdom when it comes to financial planning. You cannot know what they know because they've dedicated their lives to getting people to good, worry-free retirements. Literally dedicated their lives. And when you sit down with a country representative, you're going to realize, wow, there's so much I didn't know about financial planning. It's so good to know this, so good to know that. You'll be thrilled after meeting with a country representative at Country Financial. And you'll think to yourself, I should have done that 15 years ago. Here's the number, 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. Country is spelled
COUNTRY.
Wow.
Barely recovered
that
there.
Was close.
I had to think about it.
Wait a minute. Is he talking to me?
I was reading
Where's
this article.
Bonnie when you need her? Bonnie, call up.
I was reading this article about how the candidates who Hillary Clinton campaigned for did at the polls.
Not well. My idol and good friend Karl Rove made it.
Oh, okay, that's enough. Karl Rove's name has been said way too many times on this particular broadcast.
That's why
I don't hate him. I just
Sure you
disagree with him.
Yeah, you do.
Here we go with that hate
Well,
thing
he
again.
ran against conservatives, didn't? Am I wrong on that, or was it somebody else?
He has run against conservatives, and he has.
He ran candidates
actually
against
made,
us.
and he has just made a lot of statements about conservative wackadoodles like me.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
you
don't
are
appreciate that, but I don't hate him though.
His point
You
is
are the
that,
wackadoodle.
this is his point, if I understand it correctly. America's not ready for you. They're not ready for your conservative ideas.
Yeah,
so
I don't think he thinks America will ever be ready.
You're just going to have to wait, and at some point, I don't know. But
here's what his point is.
What is his point?
Dan Sullivan has a better chance of beating Mark Begich than Joe Miller does. So I'm going to go with Sullivan. That's his point.
I don't really
he
know
doesn't
that's his
think.
point. I don't think so. I
What
think
was
you're
the
wrong.
gal who ran
you're
the
both
commercial?
wrong.
Oh, good.
The girl who ran the commercial said, "I'm not a witch." What was her name?
Christine
O'Donnell.
O'Donnell, right? He said basically his point is those kind of candidates do us no good.
Yep.
We've got to have candidates like Dan Sullivan and more credible, established candidates.
Yeah,
And
Joe
yes,
Miller is not at all credible. I mean, he's only got
Well,
Ivy League degrees,
he's got a
military
60%.
combat service. No, he's not at all credible.
he's got a
Dan.
60% negative.
Actually, his negative has gone down a lot since
Well,
the last election.
probably, but it's not below
good news.
And his negative came from the media, not from himself.
I can't argue with any of that. But the reality of the situation is that there are some people who are you will admit, I'm assuming, and I know you're probably a lot like Bonnie in that your vision's not real good on this subject.
Ooh.
But you will admit that Joe Miller's first campaign against Lisa Murkowski was a disaster, and it was not just the media.
It was poorly done at
Okay.
times, absolutely.
All right, and he deserves some culpability for that. That was not all just Tony Hopfinger.
Yeah, no, he definitely deserves some blame for some wrong decisions, and I think he would agree with that as well. I don't think he would disagree with you.
569-1080. Let's go to Joe.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Hello, crew.
Hello.
I am very glad that Dan Sullivan is our new U.S. Senator, but I tell you this, Dan, he needs to immediately get rid of this Obamacare, which I was totally against. And I actually voted for Begich, but it was like a lukewarm, it was like...
Wait a minute.
You mean the first time?
I didn't even make my decision until a week ago.
You mean the first time you voted for Begich? You voted for him just now.
Yesterday.
Well, I thought you said you were happy Sullivan won.
Oh, I am.
You know Sullivan was running against Begich.
It was such a close...
Wait a minute. You're glad Sullivan won, but you voted for Begich.
Yeah, but...
Could I take just a moment for my head to explode, and then I'll be right back?
Why would you vote for someone and then be glad that they lost?
Because my heart was set on the Pebble Mine issue, and I wanted that to be stopped. But I didn't get my way. However, I do not like Obamacare, and we have 23 million illegal aliens that need to be deported.
Are you opposed to people in Western Alaska being able to create wealth for their family?
No.
So why
Not
would
at
you
all.
oppose the Pebble Mine if it can be proven that it's done safely?
Because that is the largest red salmon run in the world, and that cannot be damaged. And I'm an Alaskan, and I just will not ever let a Canadian, any kind of mining company.
So you don't
to
think
mine
that the
it.
technology is such today where that you can do mining without hurting the environment?
Well, they proposed an earthen dam and lake, and that won't work.
It won't. Why won't it work?
Because of the history has proved it has not. It's
Well,
destroyed already.
hey, look, I'll give you a
Runs are up.
suggestion. Go look at. They had an 8.9 earthquake, one of the largest earthquakes in modern times. It was down in South America. 46 mines were in the direct vicinity of that earthquake. None of them failed because they use modern containment techniques.
Mount Polly, the month ago it
Mount
happened.
Polly did not destroy any fish. Do you understand that? It didn't destroy the waterways. It didn't destroy any fish. No one died from it. The water was drinkable.
We won't know for a long time until the runs start returning.
They
If
already
return.
measured the water. Within 2 days, they went back and said, this water's drinkable. There's no danger here. They don't store dangerous
very
mine waste
sensitive.
in a containment pond. People just don't understand this, and I realize you don't understand it either. I'm just begging you to
have
find
kids.
out.
You want to have food for the future for your kids.
Yes.
You cannot eat gold.
And do you
It
think that
doesn't
the
kill
people
fish? I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you. The mine waste, and they would have stopped Mount Polly here. They would have never allowed it to continue. There was a violation in 2011. The Canadian government did not stop them from continuing to produce and put tailings into that pit, and we would never have allowed that. That does not fly in the United States of America. So they do their mining
the
different
fight's
than they
not
do it
over
here.
with yet.
Well, Joe,
It's
let me
far
ask you
from
this, because
over
this
with.
is the difference between you and Glenn as I see it. You are just convinced you cannot have mining in an area without damaging the environment, right? That's just not possible. So really, there's no reaching out to you, and if you're so convinced of that you're willing to commit the people in that region to a generational poverty because you just think it's not possible.
Well, they have a fishing industry over there, and
And about 80% of them from outside of Alaska, by the way. When you use your Alaska,
and that's an Alaska resource. How's Alaska going to get any money when it's a Canadian-owned mine?
jobs.
And the mine's only going to produce about $200 billion. We're going to get a ton of money, Joe. But the point, the main point I want you to address is you just don't think it's possible to perform mining.
I don't want to experiment with it because it's too dangerous.
Shut down Red Dog?
Usabelli, all of them.
Shut down all the mines.
Shut them down. And the oil too. Shut that down also. That's dangerous.
Joe, I guarantee if Joe was sitting in a dirt floor in Bush, Alaska, not being able to buy shoes for his daughter,
That's right.
he would say, "Bring the job.
Bring the mines."
It's very easy in your home in Alaska in Anchorage. 814. In your home in Alaska in Anchorage. 814.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Join Anchorage Downtown Partnership and other businesses along G Street for the first annual Bunny Boots and Burn Barrels G Street Block Party on November 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Bunny Boots and Burn Barrels is an opportunity for businesses along G Street to throw a true Anchorage meets Oktoberfest block party between 4th and 5th Avenue on a first Friday. The evening will feature beats by DJ Spencer Lee, a beer garden courtesy of Darwin's Theory, food from Uncle Joe's Pizzeria, and other tasty food trucks, deals and specials from G Street businesses, and so much more. It will be the block party of the ages. Since it's first Friday, you can join us to start your evening or end your rounds at G Street between 4th and 5th Avenue until 9 p.m. So put on your warmest boots and come enjoy a truly northern experience with your fellow Alaskan snow bunnies while grabbing a beer and some grub on November 7th at G Street. Brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Darwin's Theories, Criterion General, Pfeiffer Development, Maple McKinley, Cabin Fever, Uncle Joe's Pizzeria, KPB Architects, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
This is Olympic cross-country skier Holly Brooks. Are you an adult who wants to help today's girls become tomorrow's leaders? Girl Scouts of Alaska is looking for volunteers. Lead a Girl Scout troop, coach a Lego robotics team, or present at a workshop. Parents, grandparents, college students, and retirees can all be Girl Scout volunteers. All you need is a willingness to help make tomorrow's leaders from today's girls. girls like me, because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
You're on with Fagan responsibly. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham filling in for Bonnie. We're on KOAN, KVNT, streaming on danfagan.us. Our phone number, 569-1080. 569-1080. So this is interesting, this governor's race. So we've got some new numbers. Originally, we were reporting to you, based on what Amanda Coyne has reported, that there are 3,000 absentee ballots out. However, 9,000 or 10,000 are Republicans, 5,000 are Democrats, 13,000 independents. Walker has a 2,935 lead. Bonnie, you say the Fairbanks paper is reporting.
I'm Bethany.
Bethany or Bonnie. Bethany, a.k.a. Bonnie. You just the names are too close.
Oh, I see. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
that's
They
the
start
problem.
with like the same first letter, and all the
That's
rest
right.
are different. But
Exactly.
sure, whatever.
So
I'm on board with
Hey,
you,
B,
Dan.
how's it
I
going?
call her.
Yeah, B.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So you say the Fairbanks paper says there's 50,000
Right. There was a total of 50,000 early and absentee.
ballots out.
That
It
no,
does
that
not
are
out.
in
In,
already.
yeah.
Or that are
There's
in that
still
have not been counted.
Another 14,000 are
And when-
still
I don't know
out,
how many
and they
of,
may
some of
come
those
back.
some of those may have already been counted. We don't
When
know for
did-
sure what percentage.
When did this story?
I've already closed it. I'm sorry.
Okay, because if this was at 4 in the afternoon, they've all been counted by now, probably.
Well, no, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of what Gail Fanumi was saying. You have to understand. She's saying that we absolutely do not count all of the early votes
I
on the
understand.
day of. Some of them will definitely be counted later. I don't know if we know how many
I
yet.
understand that.
Yeah.
But if that story hit yesterday at 4 p.m., I can promise you they counted a bunch of those 50,000 ballots.
But we don't know. I mean, we
But
can,
that's my point. If we're reporting 50,000 and Amanda's reporting 30,000, it's crucial to know when that story originally was published, because that would make the 50,000.
Well, there's an update to Alaska's governor's race too close to call at 1:11 a.m. November 5th. Is that the story you're talking about?
Is that the Fairbanks paper?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look. Sorry, I've moved
Does
on.
it say anywhere, Glenn, about the how many
Matt Buxton, is that what you said?
Well, just read it and see. Just kind of skim down it and see if you see anything about 50,000.
Yeah, I mean, they are talking about here, the two gubernatorial campaigns were well aware of how close the election is and how easily an estimated 25,000 uncounted early and absentee ballots could sway. I don't know. This one doesn't refer
So
to...
there's no 50,000 there.
I don't know.
And that was at 1 in the morning. So,
well, they were just talking about what they thought the campaigns were
Okay.
thinking. So I don't know that that's...
Yeah, the Anchorage Daily News doesn't have any
they're-
numbers either.
it's
so.
not about slamming Parnell.
I mean, my guess is the Department of Elections hasn't actually come out and said for sure how many
Well,
they
you
have
know,
left.
Amanda Coyne's about the best reporter in the state.
Yeah, no, I agree.
She had late last night that there are 30,000 absentee ballots still out.
And she knew how many of each kind there were, which,
Yeah,
you know...
10,000 Republicans, 5,000 Democrats.
I would have thought there would have been closer to 50, because that's kind of how many we've
Well,
had.
I know. I saw a soundbite with Gail Fumanuminami.
Fanumi,
I know. In a late report last night at like 6 o'clock, and she said that they would be counting tens of thousands of absentee ballots
Yeah, so-
last night.
Okay.
So if that story you
yeah, so
quoted
they
in
could
the
have been,
Fairbanks
they could
paper.
have been counted after midnight even.
Right.
Yeah.
And if Amanda's reporting 30,000 still as of last night, I think that's probably more accurate. 13,000 of those independents, 5,000 Democrats, 10,000 Republicans. It's such a nail biter. You know, it was so tense. I don't know about you guys. I know, Glenn, you didn't watch it. And you watched some of the coverage.
No,
right,
I did.
Bethany?
I ended up staying up till 11:30.
You had your TV on?
Not the TV. No, I was just watching the returns.
Just watching the coverage. It's just such a nail biting thing. And every time there's a new batch of numbers.
Mhm.
And,
Some of the House races for Alaska State House are still very much up in the air.
Well, what is it? 6? What is it? No, it's 29 plus 9. That's 38 votes. Matt Clayman is leading Anand Dubé.
Well, and Gabrielle Ledoux, Lori Hummel also within,
Yeah.
I saw, within 50 or so votes.
Yeah,
very,
there's-
very close.
there's
And
one-
so for people to say that their vote doesn't count, some of these races, I mean, your vote could have made a
Razor thin.
huge difference.
Absolutely. Okay, I got the info here for you. Election officials.
Where is this from?
This is from Newsminer. Sullivan leads Begich in Alaska's Senate race. Updated 7:52 a.m. this morning.
Oh, good.
Okay. So election officials still had more than 24,000 early and absentee ballots to tally after counting some of the nearly 49,000 on Tuesday.
Okay, good.
There were also an unknown number of question and mail-in absentee ballots still coming in. There were 13,000 in 2010, the last Senate midterm election.
Well, that makes sense because Amanda had 30,000 late last night.
Yep.
They're reporting 24,000. Now, does it update the numbers as far as including the some 30,000 they may have counted overnight?
Yeah, are those? You would think as soon as if they'd already validated the early votes and the absentees, then they would count them. They try to count them. I thought as soon as they possibly can. They try to count them.
But I remember in 2008 there was a huge number of early votes that didn't get counted until even up to 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
That was very clear.
Well, wasn't that though due to the fact that many of them there were write-in or whatever?
No, that you think of 2010. I said 2008.
Getting confused.
Well, I'm at the page now. Let me just do real quick some math here. So, currently, Malott has 107,395 votes. Who are these people? And then Parnell currently has 104,230 votes, with the lead of 3165. So, Malott's lead has actually increased overnight because Amanda had them at 2,900, I believe, was her exact number, 29 something.
Yeah, and that's what I would have expected. I thought Parnell came on a lot stronger at the end of the election, and the people who voted on election day would have been much more likely to be Parnell voters than people who got any information out of the dispatch before that.
So late last night, it was 29-35 difference. This morning, as the very latest numbers, it's now a 31-65 vote difference. So it's a gain of a couple hundred votes overnight, and there's only 24,000 left. It's over.
You've decided now.
We are projecting Parnell's losing the governorship. Yeah, I mean, he never wins at any batch of numbers. Every time a new batch of numbers comes out, he never.
He's not getting closer. Now, is Begich able to finally give us his?
Oh, Begich was over at 8.
No, but I mean, he can come out now.
We should have last night.
Yeah.
I was telling you guys earlier.
Given up.
I turn on channel 2 at 9 o'clock, and it's Steve McDonald down there at Alexa Central, and there's Mark Begich, or not Mark Begich, Dan Sullivan, and then they say, hey, here's Dan Sullivan, let's interview him. So they start doing this interview with Sullivan, and it's the same old blah 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 blah. Well, we got a lot of energy, a lot of support. We've been going into people's homes. We've been going to houses of worship. Same thing he says when he calls up here. Nothing basically. And then all of a sudden I notice
very respectful.
And then all of a sudden I notice on the bottom of the screen
the first election results.
22% reporting Sullivan, 5% percentage lead. What, are they just practicing with their character generator? That's it. Sullivan won.
It's over.
And so they flash that, and then they keep doing the interview, but they don't tell the viewer Sullivan won.
I mean, breaking news maybe would have been a good cut in there.
Yeah, and so they do like this 5-minute boring interview with no substance, and then at the end, Steve goes, well, we'll go back to Maria in the studio. Maria goes, well, Steve, we've got some news to report. News? I knew 5 minutes ago he won. And you keep doing this stupid interview.
And that's why you should have been doing the Election Central coverage, Dan.
Well, I don't want to say that, but, you see the guy won, you don't go and talk to him about it, how was your day? Hey, Mr. Sullivan, you got a 5 percentage point lead with 1/5 of the votes in. What do you think of that? There's a question for you. Because everybody watching knew it because they saw it on the screen.
Yep.
It does make him seem a little out of touch. How about Mia Costello and Kathy Giessel?
Man, those were
Giessel
great big wins.
10 points.
All right,
11
here's a
points.
And Glen's not going to want to talk about it, but Anand Dubé in his shell game with his I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-life. His wife says he's pro-choice. Did that flyer, because look, when you're only losing by 29 votes, that's anything can trigger the win. You look at somebody wrong in your district, that could be why you lost, right?
Yeah.
So putting out this flyer basically trying to convince people he's pro-choice. And Glenn, you and I will agree to disagree that that's what this is about. I personally think if I'm a pro-lifer, which I am, and I go on my way out the door to go vote, and I see a flyer there saying I don't think the government should legislate a woman's body, I'm going, wow, I didn't know a non-debate was pro-choice. Now, I'm not talking about us, where we pay attention to all this stuff. I'm just talking about a regular guy. I'm not going to vote for this guy. I'm pro-life. Life's everything to me. And I don't know if you guys saw, I put the post where a non-Dube's wife came on here yesterday and basically said he's pro-choice. He was getting killed on Facebook. Jim Menery said we trusted him, we shouldn't. Another guy in Fairbanks said I held a fundraiser for him. He lied to me. And I think it absolutely cost him votes. It could be in the hundreds, maybe it's in the dozens. But it's not just, and anybody who heard him on the show yesterday or his wife on the show yesterday and had not voted, I don't know how many. That may be 3 people, maybe 30 people, maybe 300 people. But I can promise you it costs with those folks. But even more than the awful appearance of his wife on the show yesterday, that flyer. And I don't think he was going to win any pro-choice votes anyway. You know, he's an R.
So you think he lost votes, but he didn't necessarily
I do.
gain
I think it was a
side,
miscalculation on his behalf. I believe he's always been pro-choice. I told you the other day the conversation I had with him 2 years ago across the street from my house. I was absolutely convinced he was pro-choice. He even said something on the show yesterday, or last week when he was here, and I thought, well, that sounds pro-choice. Are you, do you want to defend a baby in a mother's womb? And he said, oh, yeah, I'm pro-life. He's got all these leftist communists that support him. I just think he's been pro-choice all along, and he panicked at the last minute. Thought I can't win this race without making people think I'm pro-choice. So he tried to pull a fast one, and I think it cost him the election. I think he would have won otherwise. Right?
I don't know that he's lost, but who knows? He's down by 35 points, or 35 votes.
Bethany, you agree with my assessment?
I do not agree with your assessment.
And where am I wrong?
Well, I don't think we have time to.
All right. We'll
after the break, maybe.
Bonnie's reaction back.
Bethany, not Bonnie.
No, I'm calling you Bonnie. 8:29.
KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Fort Wainwright soldier, originally from the southwest Alaska village of Chivak, has pleaded guilty to the murder of his 3-year-old son. 24-year-old Sergeant Nathaniel O'Rowan was immediately sentenced by a military judge to life in prison. He also pleaded guilty in the physical and sexual abuse of his wife. O'Rowan joined the Army in 2008 and had served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Reports suggest Republican Dan Sullivan has unseated incumbent Democratic Senator Mark Begich. Early voting results indicate other candidates winning seats in the state Senate were Dunleavy, Stolz, Fairclough, Gardner, Costello, Mayer, Cassell. Those apparently winning their individual contests for a seat in the State House: Newman, Culver, Hughes, Tilton, Sadler, Reinbold, Ledoux, Gruenberg, Drummond, Carr, Gara, Clayman, Vasquez, Johnson, Millett, Lynn, and Pruitt. Voters apparently said yes to pot and raising the minimum wage. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Today, partly sunny skies, high 32. For tonight, clear, low 15. Partial sunshine. For tomorrow, high 31. Thursday night, low 20. Friday, partial sunshine, high 35. And on Saturday, clouds and sun, high 37. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
6.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
We're a country suffering from portion distortion. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. Here's something to chew on. Our portions today are 2 to 5 times bigger than they were just a decade ago. Everyone is guilty of it, from restaurants to fast food chains to frozen food servings and those mega-sized box of food sold at the grocery store. It's hard to remember what a normal-sized portion is anymore. You can cut your portions without even realizing it by simply serving your meals at home on smaller plates. And don't buy the super-sized bag of chips at the store because it's too easy to mindlessly eat half the bag. Purchase the snack-size bags instead. And read those food labels. Serving sizes are often just one small handful. Serve yourself 1 portion and then put the rest away. Slow down when you eat. It can help you limit the portions you consume. Set the fork down between every bite. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or owe the IRS or state more than $10,000? If you don't take action now, your tax problem is going to get worse, much worse. Seizure of property, bank levies, wage garnishments, and potential criminal prosecution. And if you owe the IRS back payroll taxes, chances are you will be visited at your home or business by an IRS agent. Don't become paralyzed by fear. Take action now. Call the experts at U.S. Tax Shield for help. Our team of experienced tax attorneys can get you protected, stop collections, and negotiate a permanent settlement with the IRS and state, potentially saving you thousands of dollars. At U.S. Tax Shield, our tax advisors will review your case for free, inform you of your rights, and give you a guaranteed quote. No games and no tricky upsells. That's why we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Put an end to your torment. Get protected. Get the Shield. Call U.S. Tax Shield now at 800-299-1855. That's 800-299-1855. 800-299-1855.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
All my life, I've enjoyed hunting and fishing, but as I got older, it made it harder to enjoy the Alaskan outdoors. Thanks to Chugach Chiropractic, I'm back on the stream enjoying Alaska.
Besides aligning the spine, we also deal with the musculature and nervous system of the body. To do that, we not only adjust the spine, but we also balance muscles along with various therapies and deep tissue therapy. We help bring the body back to normal function.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. Fagan and Biegel. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
35 minutes past 8 o'clock on a Wednesday post-election day. Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie, Bethany in for Bonnie. We're broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live video and audio on danfagan.us. Our number 569-1080. Chugach Chiropractic, Dr. Myron Swigert. What a guy, what a guy. This is a man who's dedicated his life to improving the health of Alaskans. He's been doing it for a long time. So many Alaskans can tell you. I used to have a pain on my right knee. I used to have a pain on my left elbow. I didn't have any energy. I wasn't able to bend over as much as I can now. So many things Dr. Swigert specializes in that can help you improve the health of your life. And it's just a great place, Chugach Chiropractic. Great team, great staff. Dr. Madden out there, Barb, Dr. Myron Swigert. Go see him at Chugach Chiropractic. You'll be thrilled you did. 694-9224. That's the number to make an appointment. I'll give it to you again. You ready? 694-9224. 694-9224. Tell them we sent you. Our number 569-1080. 569-1080. So we do have some new news here, I suppose. Last night, Amanda Coyne, of course, we're talking about the governor's race, which is the big story. Last night there were about 30,000 absentee ballots, 10,000 Republicans, 13,000 Independents, 5,000 Democrats, and of course, Mr. Walker has a 2,900 vote lead. Now, this morning we discovered that there are how many now, Glenn?
24,000 with 13,000 could still be mailed in. Usually they will get some thousands after the election because they could be postmarked if they're in country and much later if they're out of country.
But yet to be counted that are in.
24,000 yet to be counted that are in.
So of the 6,000 that were counted overnight, Mr. Walker's lead actually grew by a couple hundred.
Actually, it was more than that. It was 49,000 were in at the beginning. They counted around 25,000 of them, and now 24,000 are left.
I know, but I'm going from Amanda's numbers to where you are.
Okay,
to 30,000. So out of those numbers, Walker grew about 200 with his lead to about 3,100 now, and there's clearly a trend here. It doesn't seem to matter what numbers come in. The lead doesn't seem to be shrinking. So I think it's pretty safe to say that there is a strong probability that Bill Walker will be our next governor. You never know. You never know what happens. You never know what batch of whatever comes flying in. It is still close. But I think, Glenn and Bethany, you'll probably agree with me that it's pretty probable that Walker's our next governor. Fair? You have to talk it.
I think.
You just nod.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, it's what I predicted when you asked me the day of the election.
Yeah.
I said I wish it weren't true, but I predicted that he was going to probably pull it off because he just gave people what they wanted, which is no real firm policies on anything, just feel good information.
Unity.
Yeah.
Unity.
Feel good.
When are you going to get behind unity, Dan? I don't know.
Unity is not a policy.
Yes, unity is not a policy.
Love that.
It's it'll be fun. I think that the Republicans are going to stand strong in the House and the Senate, and I look forward to us as we did in the 90s when we had Tony Knowles, who ended up being a completely irresponsible governor because he would not lead to try and save the state. Right? He's the one who brought in, by the way, the massive disaster that we have right now in our retirement system, but he kept proposing budgets that were $300 to $700 million out of balance. And so Sean Parnell, Senate leader, would stand up and say, DOA, dead on arrival, thanks for not participating and trying to figure out how to get a rational government, Governor Knowles. We will do your job for you.
So there's a safeguard against, because Vince Beltrami is going to say, Mr. Walker, we need you to grow government even more. Walker's going to, yes, sir. And then the Republican legislature will stand up to that.
Well, what they'll do is they know there's one thing that Alaskans want less than anything else that they absolutely will not accept, and that is for any governor or any legislature to put us in the position where we're going to have to pay an income tax. They won't accept it. They're not interested in it. Government has to go first. They're not going to give an income tax. Government must be cut. Everybody, 80% of Alaskans are on board with that message. 80% of Alaskans. And if the Republicans come out and say, look, we're $2.5 billion in debt or a deficit this year, our goal is to cut that down to 1.2. We hope that the governor will come along with us. That will make sure that we can get enough oil in the pipeline in order to save our state. So that's our goal. That's what we're going to do. If we don't do that, by the way, in 5 years you will have an income tax. You know what the state will do? Oh, we like the Republicans' plan here. Good job, Republicans. Continue on. Now, if after that Vince Beltrami comes in and says, you know, Bill, we really need to pump this thing up. Don't worry if it's $2 billion, $2.5 billion, $3 billion deficit. There is going to be an absolute, utter explosion politically. And it'll be fun to watch.
Here's the question.
Okay.
We agree that in principle, in spirit, in theory, this is Sarah Palin reincarnated. Not as much power.
Not anywhere near as much power.
Doesn't have the 80% approval rating.
Yes.
But philosophy-wise, don't let Exxon, don't let the door hit you on your way out. There's some similarities.
Okay, I don't think Walker gets to Sarah Palin because she has really a deep dislike through her husband for the oil
Walker's
industry.
is so much more intense.
I never got
When
that
her and I
sense.
were, we were moving from friendship mode to enemy mode, and I was confronting her about her oil policies. And you know what she would tell me every time? Because she didn't know enough to argue with me.
Yeah.
Says, you need to go sit down with Bill Walker.
Oh, really?
Because he had been sort of counseling her that the problem is the operating agreements on the North
You need
Slope,
to go
and
sit down
we got to
with
break
Bill
up
Walker.
those.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I heard it all. And then she said, you need to go talk to Jeff Lowenfels.
Another
And I
guy,
did.
operating agreements are the problem. We need to break those up.
Yeah, all these anti-oil pilots people, they're the same people. Now the question I have: if Sarah Palin had not quit, would she have been reelected?
No.
I remember I didn't pay attention to politics back then.
You don't think she would have been reelected?
No. No, I think you had done. People did
I
not
done
know.
enough damage that she-
No. It wasn't damage. I realize it's so hard for you to separate.
No, I'm fine. I'm
yourself
fine on that.
from
I'm
you
fine.
know
After
the
that
vitriol.
confession day, I'm fine. I'm a new man.
But look, people did not understand what was going on because we didn't have anybody on the inside. The media wasn't giving us any information. All we saw was, glory and hope and all these things. So we didn't know. So you brought.
So why do you think that's not going to happen with the Walker
critical
governorship?
information? This is you're discounting something that's very important to Bill Walker. He does want this gas line more than anything else in life. He wants this gas line more than he may dislike or feel uncomfortable about the oil industry. He wants this gas line. He wants this gas line more than anything else in his life.
Does he want it his way or does he want it?
I see. This is the real big question about Bill Walker, and we just don't know what he's going to do. Now, he may be able to argue the state wants 52% of the pipeline. We will take 25% of the other things. Please sign on the dotted line. And if the oil companies say, okay, that's fine.
They never will.
I don't know that they will. How do you know that they won't?
Because they don't.
Wait a minute. How do you know that they won't?
Because it's the same thing with the GIA. That's Sarah Palin. The producers cannot own the pipeline. That's why it killed the pipeline. The producers have to have control, Glenn. They're taking all the risk.
They'll have control over the processing plant and the liquefaction plant. I don't
Would
know.
you run a business that way?
I don't know that they care if the,
we'll
if
find
the
out.
state's gonna.
We'll find out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Just
we'll
like we found out with the GIA.
And I just
we
don't
got to
know.
find out again. It'll be the same thinking lesson twice in a row.
If they say that is a deal breaker and we're going back to ground zero, then it'll be a test of him, and I don't know if he's going to pass that test or fail. I just don't know.
844.
And it'll be a test of him, and I don't know if he's going to pass that test or fail. I just don't know.
844.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Parking space 105A. To many, it's just 130 square feet of publicly allotted tarmac. Unless you own a 2014 Mercedes-Benz CLA. With its muscular, seductive look and distinctive diamond block grille, that parking space is transformed into a stage that showcases to others what groundbreaking style can be. And as you pull away, thanks to the turbocharged inline-4 engine, parking space 105A transforms again, this time into a launching pad. See the world differently. See it in a CLA from Mercedes-Benz, whose vehicles retain their value better than any other premium brand, according to ALG. Get the 2014 CLA 254 Matic starting at just $31,900.
MSRP for a 2014 CLA 254 Matic excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. Some equipment described as optional. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime, movie time, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff, lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show, check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Get the Wave Ventilation Unit. It will transform your home into a drier, healthier environment. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to dryhousetoday.com. That's dryhousetoday.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080 KOAN. The Talk of the Valley.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bethany Markham, a.k.a. Bonnie.
Whatever.
We changed Bonnie's name to Bethany.
Oh, Bonnie, come on.
But I love Bonnie.
Was
so
this your last day?
Today's my last day.
You have done an absolutely fantastic job.
Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say.
It really has been a great thing having you in here. And I didn't know you. We'd never met, right? We had met. Probably
Yes, we had met.
Like probably dated at one point. Well, where did we meet?
I was on your TV show.
Oh, you were actually a guest. Yeah. Okay. Well, so then Bethany recommended you. No, it was actually Bonnie. Sometimes a.k.a. Bethany. Bonnie recommended you.
It's
and
getting
Bonnie
a little
really
confusing
doesn't know
at this
me
point.
very well.
Oh,
we
she
just
doesn't.
we just like I said, we've communicated with things on Facebook.
Yeah.
I met her several times through the Joe Miller campaign, but we really don't know each other all that well. But I would call into the show, and she and I very much aligned on a lot of things. So
Well,
I just thought she thought I'd be a good substitute because I was almost like her.
We were impressed with your calls. And, that's how Dave Steering got started.
That's right.
He used to call my show, and he was so good, I started calling him Super Dave.
Yeah, I remember that, Super Dave. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, what do you know? He's got his own show. So maybe someday
I'd have no interest in having my own show.
But you've done a great job, and we appreciate you coming in. It's very very helpful. You agree, Glenn?
I totally agree. You put Dan and I in the same room, alone together, and
not good.
usually bad things.
Yeah.
Bad things usually.
Yeah, there
happen.
needs to be a little balance there. I
Somebody.
agree.
Thank you.
Some
Thank you for
estrogen
that.
somewhere in the room.
Well, I'm looking forward to not getting up at 5 a.m. So
Yeah.
let me just say
Oh,
that.
come
Except I'll
on.
be getting up at 3 a.m. to go hunting. So
Oh, what are you going to go hunt for?
whitetail,
Oh, where?
Ohio, leaving tonight.
All right.
White
Now,
tail?
how big a deer is
White-tailed
that?
deer, Dan. It's a
Oh.
type of deer.
How big is that, and what are you going to shoot
Dan
it with?
doesn't want to talk
You
about
can't
this.
buy deer at the grocery store.
Oh, please. Okay, can we go back to politics?
'Cause if you
You
get it at the
can.
grocery
Indian
store,
Valley Meats, you probably could
They'll
go buy a
wrap it
deer,
up
but it
for
wouldn't.
you.
That should tell you something about it is they don't sell it there.
Oh.
There you go.
569-1080. 569-1080. Doyle, you're on.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Doyle.
Hey, I gotta tell you guys, I'm so happy I found you guys. I'm serious. Like my two favorite guys. So
Hey, where's the love, Doyle? Where's the love,
Well, we'll
Doyle?
love you.
Oh,
He could just love Dan and
I
I.
love you too, but I don't know if your name's Bethany or Bonnie.
She doesn't either.
Yeah, thanks,
Trust her.
guys.
She's very confused at this point.
Well, how long ago did you find us, Doyle?
I actually I heard Eddie one afternoon, and then so I just left it on that station, and I
Uh-huh.
called you guys when I heard you.
Yeah.
So
Have
yeah,
you told your friends, your neighbors?
I'll tell everybody.
Excellent. Thanks, Ben.
So yeah. Hey, so I have to say, Glenn, you're like quite the optimist compared to before.
I don't know what my problem is, but I woke up this morning, and this is what I said yesterday, and it is absolutely true. If Biegel loses by one vote in the final tally, I literally don't care about anything else. Biegel has got to go. If we keep him in here, our country is in jeopardy, and we have granted to Democrats the right to govern our state however they want from now on.
Doyle, he's optimist now compared to his old show?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree.
You're
Yeah.
still the
Yeah.
same cynic, Dan. You're just
What's that?
cynical.
He said he called
you're
you a
still the
cynic.
same cynic that you were.
Yeah, no, I am. No, I thought you were very negative in your old show at times. Did you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm still negative. Oh, hey, I'm still negative. So,
Okay.
No, I love it. I'm sorry. I mean, it's my kind of cynicism. So we drank together, I guess. But still, I kind of agree with Glenn. You guys were talking about the gas line. I mean, I'm not totally depressed if Walker wins. I mean, I just feel like people didn't give Parnell credit for a lot of good things that he did.
I thought he was a great governor.
I did too, and it was the same way with George Wirtz when he was mayor. Nobody ever gave that man credit.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of good things. And so I hate to see Parnell lose on that because I think he was a good governor.
Well,
And,
yeah.
But I guess the thing I've totally lost track after Aegea and stuff. I just gave up. But I'm assuming because on Eddie's show I actually called and asked about it, and Bill Walker assured. I mean, he basically told me, "Oh yeah, there's no permitting process. We can build a gas line." So I guess my question to anyone who voted for him is exactly when are they going to start on the gas line? Because if there's no permitting process and it's just because of incompetent governor, I'd like to know when is it going to start? And when are we going to see the cut?
You know, Brian, we asked Walker that question, didn't we? Or Amanda did at our luncheon. What was what did Walker say on that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm not sure I caught that part.
Yeah, I don't remember either. You know, I think, I don't know how you feel about it, Doyle, but I feel like the governor's got us right on the edge. And, my goodness, Exxon's buying land down in the Kiski. My big concern with Walker is if he wants to have the state own 50% of the pipeline, then that's starting from scratch in the negotiation process, which will be at least 2-year delay. And so, there's a window. There's a window we're dealing with here, and there are a lot of other places people in the Pacific Rim can get gas from. And if we delay our pipeline another 2 years, then we're missing out. And that's my main concern with Mr. Parnell. Because he's already called this deal the most corrupt backroom deal in the history of Alaska. So for him to embrace it after saying that, I don't know. What do you think, Glenn?
Well, I do think we have to go through permitting. They're not going to let us build this enormous. This is the largest private sector project. The environmental groups, the federal government, the state permitting agencies. You just can't go and build a $65 billion processing plant, 800-mile pipeline liquefaction plant without having a series of permits and public processes and everything else. So if he actually literally came out and said, "Oh, we could go start building a pipeline tomorrow," that is not true. So we will have
the feds are involved.
We will have a public process.
Here's my thing. If he gets something done, then good on him. I mean, I'll. But
that's how you're going to judge him. You're going to judge him based on whether he gets a pipeline or whether he kills a pipeline. That is how I'm going to judge him.
Yeah, exactly. And I, like I say, I mean, I don't think I think he's a decent guy. I mean, I've just only ever heard him on Dan's show, and actually I think on your show a couple times. And so I don't have like my stomach didn't turn but my thing is, I went to Canada a few months ago, and it had only been like 5 or 6 years since I was through Canada, and Canada is just booming.
Booming. They pass us up, by the way. Their wealth, the wealth per citizen.
Their standard of living is higher than ours. Something, driving through Canada, and I always tell everybody this, every politician that knocked on my door, the first thing I asked them was, "When's the last time you were in Canada? Come talk to me after you've been to Canada," because it's more modern than the U.S. They barely have a Green Party there.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're serious. They got a record of decision. As soon as their government gives permits for people to be able to produce stuff, you go right all the way through the process. No environmentalist can stop it at that point.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping if Malot's on there, the Democrats have pretty much invested in this governorship, so maybe something will happen. Maybe they'll. I mean, that's the bright side of it.
Well, one of the things you have to remember.
Tear down a little bit.
Well, you have to remember, Doyle, that the governorship, you can't run all the departments, so your commissioners are huge, and that's going to really be the deal. If someone like Les Guerra or Hollis French or some real hardcore greenie is the DNR commissioner, man, that's going to be devastating to the state because he's going to or she's going to be in charge of seeing projects through. The same with Attorney General, same with Department of Administration, the Fish and Game, all these commissioner positions. If he promised to load them up with a bunch of leftists, it's not really going to be it won't be Walker who's doing all the damage. It'll be his team. It's just like Aegea. Glen's pointed it out a million times in Aces. 2 people, Pat Galvin, Marty Rutherford, hardcore Democrats. I sat in a meeting with Pat Galvin and Marty Rutherford, who tried to convince me that Aces and Aegea were a good idea, and it was all predicated, Aegea working, as if Barack Obama would bring about a what is the tax that we had under Carter, the gas, gosh, I can't remember the name of the tax. I don't know, the indexing tax. They needed the feds to go after the oil companies in a big way for Aegea to work. And that was the premise of Aegea.
That was their plan.
Yes, I can't remember the name of the tax.
Brilliant plan.
Windfall profits tax.
Windfall, yeah.
Yeah,
windfall, yeah.
Yeah, so that was how. So here you got leftists running the department, and Sarah Palin basically was off doing other things, and that's how we got. That's why we missed out on the oil boom that Canada and North Dakota and South Dakota and Wyoming and Texas and California are seeing now. And that's my concern with Walker. If he promised all these lefties they'd get high positions in high places, then it's not going to be Walker that's going to cause the problem. It'll be his team.
Oh, I'm just hoping they're invested in it. I mean, quite honestly, I kind of feel like it's already too little, too late.
Yeah.
I mean, the price of oil's already dropping.
Well, let me bring a little more sunlight just before we have to go here, and that is Alaska has so much more in resources per capita than Canada has dreamed of. In their wildest dreams, Canada doesn't have anything like what Alaska has per capita. But the key is we've got to be able to produce them, and that is how we're going to have to judge this governor.
See you tomorrow. Yeah. Bethany, thanks so much for coming in.
Is it 9 o'clock already?
Yes, appreciate it. 8:58. See you tomorrow, folks.
Biegel in the morning. Be sure to catch them every weekday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. on Hot Talk KOAN 95.1 FM, 1080 a.m. and online at 1080KOAN.